Hi, everybody.
So, I think we're all here. I don't have everyone, but
Yeah, I don't think he has camera, but I have everybody else.
okay. So, welcome back to Wild.
Oh, I should get my dice, maybe. Sorry, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, my dice are still over on the counter.
No worries.
I'll do that. I'm listening.
So, quick recap. Last time, Purnell and Velis. Was it Purnell and Velis or were you and Velis?
It was
Purnell and Velis, yeah.
Purnell and Velis went scavenging in all of the nice homes and shops in the city of Gordon. At least the forested elven district. Doesn't really have a name, I think probably because they just consider that to be the real Gordon. They don't really name it any separate.
Gordon Commons.
Yeah, there's like the Commons over there. And then this is actually Gordon. But they didn't really find much. Except this strange stone building in and amongst a bunch of elven wooden architecture that was magically locked. And being adventurers, they had to figure out what was behind the locked door. And it turns out it was another locked door that was trapped. And behind
Our
that
nemesis
locked door
doors.
was a locked and trapped door. There is yet another ongoing series of traps and locks and doors. Eventually, everyone managed to gather together and discover that it was a hidden wizard's workshop. Or poking your nose around, discovered it wasn't just any wizard, but it was actually a hidden secret workshop of one of the archmagi of the Cerberus Assembly. Anxious and nervous, you pilfered a few things and went back to discuss what it was. At some point, Velis's fingers got itchy, and he went back, and he pilfered the rest, which is about 10,000 gold worth of rare spell components and materials.
So
Their fault for leaving it there.
And after bringing back a couple of books, Purnell's fingers got itchy.
Oh, come on!
Oh my gosh.
Just because Velis probably brought back like the worst books for Purnell. Most probably. What does this even mean?
Right.
Look, I tried.
Well, one of them is writing letters the elven way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I need.
I'm worried about this.
I learned this from Edelgard.
I can guarantee you that Velis did not pick up the book that was entitled "This Book is Full of Spiders."
That sounds like a book for kids, though. Like, let's be honest. Like,
Or something
Anyways.
terrifying.
Yeah,
It is a
I mean,
wizard
it's literally full of
workshop.
spiders. It's just
I mean,
like
probably, but it does sound like, you know, an introductory book that you would like the National Geographic for kids. Like, this book is full of spiders, except when you
Yeah.
open it, it's actually full of spiders.
yeah.
Yep.
Soltris Academy Publishing presents Magic and You: Unlocking Your Potential, Volume 2. Not so useful, but enlightening. As well as Volume 7 of the Dwendalian Imperial Code of Civic. Yeah, but there are quite a number of other books, including the Book of Vapors, Diarchy, A Radical New Government, The Blue Plague, Non-Standard Magics, Non-Octagonal Thinking, Calamitous Intent, Pre-Divergence Deicide.
Deicide? That's a word.
Yeah, deicide.
Yeah.
I mean, I can figure out what it means, but I'm just like, that,
I have questions.
Yeah.
Along with Wand Repair Volume 4, Recharge. But yeah, so there's a wide variety of all sorts of arcane and mundane books, including a very rare first edition copy of Courting of
Courting of the
Which-
Cricks for those in chat. It's a smut book. It's a first edition smut book.
educational.
Educational smut, yes.
It is
Yeah.
true. It is
Is
educational.
the sex ed book?
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's
I feel
it's
like
Historical
That tends
smut.
to have historical context.
it's probably more like someone either wrote a romance novel and then a historian messed with it, or a historian wrote a book and then a romance novelist came in and did editing after the fact. Unfortunately, we're short in Elias today.
Hmm.
He's having extended spell time.
He's having extended spell time.
With all the ungrunts and
Right,
all the
with
incense.
the
stuff
new-
that he has.
All
now.
the incense.
Thank you for the chat inspiration.
But you also found, and what identified the owner of this workshop were 3 letters. 2 addressed directly to Master Dulinski, and then 3rd, unaddressed, written in a rough hand.
You're cutting in and
Mile
out a bit,
away.
Brendan. You might want to turn your yeah.
Yeah. A little more towards you.
Yep.
All right, well, I was trying to do a thing where it's not like directly in front, so I'm not popping, but
Hmm. We can't hear the
Um,
ends of words sometimes, so.
damn it!
Oh, damn. Everybody's getting chat inspiration up in here. Dead Aussie
Ooh.
Gamer is just like, take it.
All right,
I'm
so I'm
gonna
gonna have
grab
to throw
food,
something at you
so
soon.
give me 1 sec.
Sure. But yeah, you found a strange and also a strange letter that was making references to things, wasn't dated or anything like that, and it kind of twigged all of your spidey senses. And so I think you've probably been spending the rest of the evening or afternoon investigating. I'm not even sure what time of day that was that we left off. I should probably take notes about that sort of thing.
I mean, they'd gone hunting around
I would say
early.
early afternoon.
Yeah, and then we went. So I would say, yeah,
Mhm.
it couldn't be too
Evening.
late. But
Yeah.
Give me 90. That's better.
It's at some point. It's sometime after noon.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How long it
Um,
took
That works.
Aiden to find a
Right.
door that he has conquered. Splintering it into shards.
You're definitely at least one short rest in there
Oh yeah,
to
that's
get all
true.
my spells back.
Mhm.
To dispel
All 2 of them.
Spell more
all
shit.
the letters. 3.
All
Don't
right.
so much short.
So, the rest of the day is yours to do as you please.
Hmm.
I'm definitely looking at this letter.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody else wants to do anything, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions about this letter.
Did we wish to help the member of the Cobalt Soul?
I mean, she might have useful information or be useful, but I don't know.
Hmm.
The impression I got was most people didn't think that was necessary, but I wouldn't object.
Perhaps not, but given we are dealing in at least some information now that we were not sure about before, anyone with knowledge might be helpful, or
But how many people do we want to pull in on this? It's sensitive information.
no, well, perhaps not now, but 'tis good to have allies for the future. Doth you not think?
Yeah, that's fair, but we have heard of this lady in passing. We haven't really judged whether or not she's trustworthy ourselves, just
Um,
because she's associated
we
with a
can't do
presumably
that if we
trustworthy
don't-
organization.
yes,
We can't do that if we don't go see her and maybe spend some time with her.
Precisely.
It's rather
Yeah,
difficult
well,
to
we're not going to
do
be spouting all our secrets when we do, are
no,
we?
no, of course not.
No.
Because that seems like the intention.
No, simply seeing what she needs and assessing the situation. Perhaps we can help while you are looking over those, pointing to the letters. If this is simply clearing out a building or searching it and making sure she stays safe, that is not something we all need us to do. Higan and I alone managed to, well, assist with taking out some of the creatures here.
That's fair. Let's not forget we do have other things on our plate before we found all this.
Oh, yes.
I assume we're planning to head out perhaps
At least
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
It's fairly late. It's getting later today.
Well, we do have ways of getting where we need to quicker, don't we?
Do we? That's in character. The only person who knows about Higan's helm is Higan.
Yeah, we don't know what you got.
I keep forgetting about that.
Me both in and out of character. I'm like, I don't know.
Higan has a helm of teleportation.
Yeah.
None of us know that.
whether he told anyone about that.
His rare item.
Yeah.
I imagine he wouldn't have hidden that he had it. He just wouldn't have specified why he grabbed it.
Right, or what specifically it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't necessarily know how accurate it is, but I do have peculiar means of moving.
You're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. What do I got?
Chat, drink break.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Oh, that's really sad now.
What? Oh.
Jeopardy theme.
Yeah. I like how it's a resolute. What? Uh-oh.
Mm.
Like, right, yes.
I mean, that is sad, but also
Hmm.
good. Not him, not that, but
Not-
like Jeopardy. Jeopardy
yeah.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any better?
At the moment, yeah.
For the moment.
Okay, we'll see. I don't know how much of that you actually got.
Not much of
Not
it,
at
so
all.
we might, yeah.
Cool. It's just I don't know how accurate it is, but I do have a means of moving all of us.
Oh, well, that's certainly.
Pernell gives Higan an interested look at that and wonders, what?
When we were all grabbing items from all that treasure, I found a helm that can teleport, but again, I haven't tried it. I don't know how accurate it is.
Gosh, I'm
Sure.
Considering
surprised
the
it
places we don't want to be, but you know.
I mean,
How
do
doth
you-
it work?
yes.
I mean,
Suppose
is there anybody more familiar with where we are going than I am? So that would probably help.
Got the information about the place from Azra. She might have. We want to get closer to the mine, right? Because that's where the river was near the mine. So she might have something from the mine. Could describe it. Is this a
What-
teleportation spell?
What do you need?
Yeah, it.
I mean, I think any information would be beneficial.
Yes,
Again, I
how-
haven't
how-
actually tried it yet, but
Are you able to go somewhere that you've never been before?
I don't think reliably.
Hmm.
If you do, do you
um,
know all the
Yeah, I was
pieces
gonna say.
about it?
So,
I think
from a
so.
description, you don't have good chances. If you've only viewed it once, you don't have good chances. If you've seen it casually, you don't have good chances, which is a little
Right,
bit better.
no.
But
If you have
Yeah.
an object from the location or the place,
an associated object, yeah, you're better. But
Right.
so if she did have something that she could offer us,
within the
we'd
Yeah.
be good.
Okay.
then I
Well, we
suppose
can.
that's our best bet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ask
See if she has
Azra
anything.
if she has anything from the mine that would get us closer. Not exactly where we want to go. We're not going to the mine, but
Yeah.
I mean, we were probably headed to the mine to start anyway, just because that's the landmark we have for anything.
Pretty much.
So, well, okay. The question is, would we want to do that today or tomorrow morning anyway? I mean,
Well,
I mean,
the description of the place we're looking for, I forget what the exact wording was, but something about not being under the sun, but
Yeah.
whatever that whole thing was.
I
Yeah.
feel like that particular description will get us fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not an
Really telling it a word
expert
won't
in
work?
teleportation, but I suspect that
I'm not talking about where, I'm talking about as far as when, because it seems like daylight or moonlight is important for determining whether we're
Yeah.
at the right place.
right, but we're not going to get straight to the right place.
True, but it still hasn't.
Then how close can we get? How
Still
long
has
do
an
we have to
effect.
travel?
We
to
don't
get
know
there?
exactly
Yeah.
where this place is, so I can't tell you how close we're going to get.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, if we go now, then
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is go to mine, look for the spot where the river, where the singing mountains that Azra described, right? And then that was the closest thing we had to anything that resembled the other story. And go from there. We don't know. It's somewhere in the mountains.
I mean, does anybody need more time to prepare, or is there any reason to wait till tomorrow?
Well, we would
Other
need,
than just being rested,
and
perhaps. But
speaking to Azra, well,
Well,
yeah, we need to speak
that
to
is, I think,
Azra.
a good idea.
it may be
Resting
easiest to
is-
find her at night in the tavern.
Well, but she was a blacksmith, right? So we could also just check the smithy.
he probably has this shop, yeah.
I suppose.
But I mean, I don't need to do anything to prepare. The question is, do we want to get there and have to set up camp very quickly, or would we
No,
prefer to
probably
rest
not, 'cause we
here
don't-
and start the day fresh? And
I
That
feel
would
it
be
is.
appreciated, honestly.
We do not know how safe the area is going to be where we're landing, so I feel it would be smarter to rest here and leave first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That gives us the rest of the day to gather the necessary information and potential items. And
I don't particularly like to be blindsided, so
And just resupply.
yes. Unless there's some reason we should go sooner, she'll
I
look at Aiden
don't-
and just, he seems to be the one who, if there is a need to hurry, he seems to be the one to want to hurry. So
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're about 3 weeks too late, so
well, I can't.
what
put us
difference
back
does
in
it make
time.
at this point, right?
A couple hours, you know.
unfortunately, I don't think any of us have actual time travel. So
No, that I do not have. All right. Well,
where's a blue
we'll
police
find
box when you
Azra.
need one?
So gather what we can
You're right.
today and leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
Early.
Yes.
All right.
I'm fine with that. It will be nice to sleep here rather than on the road for another night.
Yes.
Yeah. Should we go find Azra then?
Guess so.
Sure.
Yeah, I have things to occupy me.
Okay, you do that.
Assuming he's talking about the letters.
Let's start with Azra
Seems
and
to like
perhaps
reading
see
things.
if we can find. What was her name? Hannah?
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah afterwards?
Who's
I
Hannah?
mean, the
The
Cobalt
Cobalt Soul.
Soul lady.
Oh, right.
We could also split up if preferred. A couple of us go talk to Azra. A couple go see if they can find Hannah, and
I mean, how much time is there left in the day?
it's the
Roughly.
afternoon. We have
Okay. That's what
A
I
lot.
mean, I'm just like,
a reasonable amount.
Well, I can attempt to find Hannah. if you wish to speak to Azra, Wiria.
I'll go with you to Azra.
Who's Hana?
Cobalt Soul.
Cobalt Soul.
Okay.
Right, it'd be helpful maybe to at least know her face, if nothing else.
Yes.
Just figure if we can get them both done at the same time, we have a little more time if there's anything else we want to do tonight.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if she simply needs an escort, I am used to that.
I mean, if she wants to go somewhere, perhaps more than one of us would be a good choice for that.
If who wants what?
Hannah wanted to go. There's a building, as I
Oh.
recall.
Mm-hmm.
Have we
With
actually
it-
talked to her already?
Not
or-
yet.
No.
We just know about
Okay.
her.
She just got mentioned to us.
Okay. So I was like,
Um,
how do we know what she wanted to do?
Indil.
Yeah,
okay.
Indil told us about her, and how he couldn't do what she wanted because he didn't have the people for it.
Gotcha.
So perhaps you seek out Hannah, find out more details, more specifically what she's looking for, and if you think we can help, and then we can meet back up once Tegan and I have talked to Azra, and then if we're going to do that tonight, we do that tonight. If not, well, we don't.
Yeah. That works for me.
Certainly.
So meet back here, I guess. We don't know where Hana or Azra is, so it's hard to pick a place that's convenient after talking to them. So
Back here works, I guess.
I feel like Leah will go with whoever she feels like it'll be more useful or what. She doesn't really have a.
If you'd like to accompany me,
Strong-
Lemoira, perhaps she
Sure.
has more information for you as well. We're both a bit under knowledgeable about this area.
That is very true. I will not deny that one. All of this civilization or whatever you call it is quite different. It's good to know it's not all dark and gloomy, though.
a bit different from home. You're right, but there's lots of interesting things out there.
Indeed.
All
Get
right,
off
then.
to it.
Phyllis, do you want to go with either of us?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted again.
Ah!
No.
We cannot hear
Nope.
you.
Oh no. It says you're
I
I
muted.
see what
There we
happened.
go.
No, I saw what happened. Yeah, I've been talking and I'm like,
Okay.
Oh, no.
We're
Yeah,
just
you guys
We couldn't
ignoring
see
you.
because your head was off camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured it out. So, I mean, if you want me to, I can. Otherwise, I was planning on just spending some time looking at these papers we found. See if there's anything useful in there.
If you want to hang
Searching
out with
for
Aiden and
book
look at
Aiden.
things, then
That's fine.
feel free. It's
I mean, a second set of eyes doesn't hurt, right?
sure.
Yeah.
I actually had a related DM question. Given the time that Velis was in the Empire about 10 years ago or so, I don't know which names on those letters would be familiar to him.
You
I mean, that's basically the same
explicitly-
question I have.
Right. You
Do I recognize any
explicitly,
of the names?
yeah. So Velis explicitly did work for the Assembly. So you would be familiar with, it's very likely, actually I could say definitively, you never worked with Doolin.
Mhm.
But you know that Doolin is one of the oldest members of the sort of central collection of Archmagi.
Mhm.
She is a gnome who is tasked with ensuring that strange and arcane alien extraplanar threats do not overwhelm the Empire. the other names are newer. You don't recognize the other one.
Okay.
Aiden, though, you would.
Okay.
Specifically because he was actually a instructor at the
Wouldn't
Soltris
know.
Academy.
Wouldn't know Vess either.
Vess, actually, you would probably know Vess.
Okay.
Since you probably spent most of your time in cities rather than romping through the wilderness, Vess probably wouldn't have had jobs for you. But that's the one that you, the ones you're familiar with. Aiden, you would definitely know. Really blinked on his name. Doolin. No, Doolin is the gnome. You know that.
I'm assuming you mean Uladon.
Uladon, yes. He is sort of a recently installed kind of. Basically, he kind of managed to fail his way up. He pissed off a lot of people at the Soltris Academy, but then managed to secure a position. Ostensibly, he was a well-respected and regarded instructor at the Soltris Academy, but he was kind of pushed out, but managed to find himself in an actual Archmage position, specifically focusing on diplomacy and relations with other governments across Wildemount. Vess, you probably know of her. Athesius, there we go. Athesius Uladon.
My question was actually more directed at names mentioned in the cryptic one.
Okay.
If any of those were recognizable.
Well, yeah, actually. Quite a number of them. Let me pull up the text. I was trying to think of a way of like grabbing those images and putting them somewhere so that we could link to them in the chat so people can look at the.
You should put them on the put them on the screen because they're pretty and people should see them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Just
Yeah.
put them up on Roll20.
I could do that. So the particular I could also like read them out, but that
Everyone
might be a
should see them because they're
laborious.
pretty.
That might be a
They're
little
very
too
pretty.
much.
They're a bit small though, but I'm trying.
So you could put them up and then read them.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So this is show to players.
I mean,
you should
pull them up pretty easily.
Yeah, I got them up.
If you should be able to actually click on it and zoom in pretty well.
The only thing
I
is
guess
with the zoom,
doesn't-
for me, it messes up the rest of my layout because it
Mm.
goes
Oh,
over top
gotcha.
of the normal setup.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So the letter from Athesius Ulit. So written Duskar 28th, 810 post Virgin. That is a specific date. It is timed roughly about I don't have the calendar. Okay, hold on. So for all of you, Duskar the 28th, I believe is about the time you were leaving Phandalin, around there. Honored Master Tversky, I was delighted to receive your letter and am ecstatic that you're interested in some of the more terrestrial matters of the Assembly, as you so drolly put it at our last chamber. I have spent a not inconsiderable amount of time corresponding with all the signatory members of the Accord and have made fast friends with many of their numbers. Graf's effort to ingratiate himself among the Marquesas is as laudable as it is laughable. His efforts are clumsy in comparison to my own, as I am the one that was invited to Lapidus' gala after all. As far as the enigmatic Warden Council is concerned, I have unfortunately not had any success there personally. My missives have all been returned with responses that could best be described as perfunctory. I have quite a knack for the enchanting elves, frankly baffled that my poetic prose isn't appreciated. I was sure that I would win them over. As such, any information you can glean would be of incredible value to me and the Assembly at large. Also, please consider yourself formally advised that the Assembly is recalling all of its magi for an emergency quorum. It seems a flight of dragons have toppled Taldore, and the king wants us to prepare a threat assessment and your status report as soon as possible. Yours in Arcanum Mysterium. Lord Athesius Uladon, Archmage of Diplomatic Union, Order of Tyrnadal, 2nd Class, and Soltris Academy Honored Faculty. Yeah. He's a character. The other one, dated a number of months prior. Undalar 11, 810. Doolin, thank you for your gift. It was most generous. Such a relic must have come at considerable cost, and I haven't seen iconography like it before. I believe your assessment of its age to be accurate, and it may very well be one of the earliest incarnations of the Raven Queen before the Divergence. As for your inquiry, I regret that I must disappoint you, as my travels and research have not taken me to any part of the Menagerie Coast. The western reaches of Wildemount are largely untamed, and are known for higher-than-average extraplanar activity with strong ties to both the Feywild and Shadow. However, my forays into the Savalier Wood and the ruins of Malesme seem to lend some credence to your hypotheses. The elves of Guarden are an insular folk, so you may find more amenable mercenaries for your excursions in Port Mali. I look forward to seeing you at the next chamber session and hearing about your progress. Cordially, Vess. So it seems Doolin has a more casual relationship with Vesta Rogna. And then the last, written in conversational shorthand, almost. Friend. Ordinarily, the Revelers Gala would be happy to sponsor such an esteemed personality as yourself, but surely there are more appropriate venues for a Tversky-led sponsorship. Next month, Oth will take over the invitational preparations and considerable commerce will ensue. Next after that will be Gordon, but it is doubtful that there will be similar opportunity. Right of acquisition is expected. I don't think that is in question. Similarly, the king is in play, and the assembly would do well to watch for threats. Lapidus is still an unknown quantity. Leverage still eludes. Zalezo influence has waxed of late. Historically, it hasn't been an issue for assembly interest, but Fesserin will bring a change of leadership. Signed, E. It's... So, for reference, Oth is one of the cities in the Menagerie Coast. It's one of the few that are not actually directly... it's not a port city. I think, right? As I pull up my...
I remember seeing it on the map.
Well,
Maybe.
I can... give me just a moment as I switch our map to
blackness.
the big one.
Darkness.
Oh.
To darkness.
Oh,
Sweet crackers, I'm blind.
Oh, dang it. You know, it's the dynamic lighting got reset for everything. Hold on,
Yeah.
let me turn everything off.
Yay,
All
roll
right.
20.
Off. Save settings.
Yay, light.
Hey, look at that.
It's
All
so
right.
pretty.
Okay.
There it
So,
is.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Aha.
See it.
oh, you know what? I've got like showing up.
So further west than we've been. East.
Further east.
Much further east. Yeah.
I
well,
said I said west and meant east.
Right. So, our initial adventure, it was sort of like, yes, we're in Wildemount, but there actually wasn't a continent, and certainly no Menagerie Coast that was really fleshed out. And while I was like trying to piece together as much as I could and kind of like Frankensteining a map, I was actually getting fairly close once we did have a concept for the empire and whatnot. But what I basically ended up settling on, is that the town of Phandalin, was north of Nicodranus in the mountain.
Oh, okay, so we were.
Okay. You were
So
way
you
over
were
there.
you were very far east. And the Sirios End Forest, basically. And that's where Thunder Tree was, Phandalin, all of those areas. The Lost Dwarven Mine. Nicodranus, I'm sort of retconning as being the I don't remember the name of
Haven. Port Haven.
Yeah, Havenport.
Havenport.
Because Havenport had this big lighthouse that was run by a druid, and Nicodranus has a big lighthouse that's run by a druid. So I'm just gonna smash those together and say that's where all that happened. And so that's where you took the ship back to Port Damali because it was much faster. So Oath is right there, smack dab in the middle. It's I guess Tesoa is also not a port city, although it's more
It's
like
on the
City.
water.
The river, yeah.
yeah,
a
it's
river
on
city.
it's on a major river. Although our version of Tesoa is really barely more than a town compared to, I think, the what has been fleshed out in the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. Okay, so Oath is one of the towns of Concord. So the other things, the Invitational, Revelers Gala, those don't make any sense. Or at least nothing that you've heard of. There is sort of the organization of pirates that operate in the Menagerie Coast known as the Revelry. Whether that's related, don't know necessarily. The other names mentioned. Lapidus is the Marquis of Port Damali. Also mentioned by Athesius in his letter. That'd be Lesia Lapidus, Marquis of Port Damali. And then Fesseron is a month early in the year.
And the
And I
Z
think-
name is not recognizable.
Is a Lezo?
Yeah.
That's the Menagerie Coast version of the Crown's Guard.
Okay.
The Zalezo are basically funded through communal and represent interests of the Concord explicitly versus and they sort of act as the Crown's Guard. They have almost a completely negligible presence in Guarden. Guarden's involvement in the Concord is almost nominal. They're very insular and isolated. And the Concord does not have strong hold, so to speak, on Guarden as it does the other signatories of the Concord. Let's see, other names that you would recognize and know. Graf is referring to the Crown Empire head diplomat. So the Cerberus Assembly has Athesius Uladon, who is the Archmage of Diplomatic Union, and his counterpart within the Empire is Graf. Something Graf. Let me look it up. Lord Zedden Graf. He's basically, for all intents and purposes, the Empire's Secretary of State, so to speak. And he and Uladan frequently cross paths and are known to be not necessarily on friendly terms. At least, I would say Aiden would know that. Most everyone else is very unfamiliar with Wildemount politics, seeing as how you're either from another time period or a continent.
Yeah, you're saying a month, and I'm just like, Leah's over here like, what are months? Like, are they like smaller seasons? Like, I feel like for them, it's like they just go by seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I'm like, you don't need months. It's just, yeah.
Right. And then Tversky is Doolin's last name.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I thought it was a decadent bird that they eat on Friendsgiving Day. For all Leah knows, it could be. That's some wild bird. This is why Leah did not stay to read.
And there's nothing that, Bellis doesn't know too much about Menagerie Coast political stuff, I would think. More Empire side.
You would know that there is no decision that are made really at any level within Clovis Concord cities that don't have some influence from the Myriad.
Okay.
Gordon may be an exception. Like, the Clovis Concord barely has a presence. And you wouldn't with...
Would there be any Myriad contacts in the region around Port Damali? Like anyone major players who would have an E name?
that you would recognize.
Okay.
Most of your contacts would actually probably be in the Empire and Nicodranus.
Okay.
I mean, your old friend Benji was based out of Nicodranus.
Yeah. Okay.
Very likely he would know if there was an influential member of...
Cool. Well, I don't have a way to get a hold of him, so...
What? I'm here.
I mean,
Looks like we're splitting up for...
yeah, I think the plan was Aiden and Velis hang out and read shit.
You do
Even-
technically have a way of getting messages out, Velis, potentially. We have those 3 sheets of messenger parchment.
I forgot about that.
I was like, do we have something for that? Like, yeah! That was
I mean, you can also talk to Elias whenever he's done with his spell time.
That's true.
Like, because you literally have a way of...
If you want to go through a third party.
Right.
Okay, but the messenger parchment, they wouldn't... that was so long ago. They don't need something to... like a piece of something to respond? I could just send them a message and they can write back, or...
Basically, it's the animal message spell.
Okay. So we could send them a message, but they couldn't necessarily get back to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, everybody else gonna do their thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Go find Azra.
See if someone around Indil can point us towards Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, I assume we'll start by going towards for Ezra, going towards the smithy.
Yeah.
And ask around a little bit if she's not there. We'll ask around if we find somebody who might know where she is, but mostly go towards the smithy.
Okay. So you're going to go find Azra?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. It is... You hear her before you see her. The sounds of a hammer striking metal echo pretty far, but aren't the first thing that you hear. You actually hear a very gruff, but strong voice singing in Dwarven. Sounds like her. At least what she may sound like if she were singing. I'm not going to attempt to sing in Dwarven.
Oh, come on.
New Jersey
But-
smoker's accent.
Very, very, very Hobbit vibe.
Hobbit vibe, but make it dwarves. No, the Hobbit. The Hobbit.
Right.
Yes.
I was thinking Hobbit vibe as in hobbits singing.
No,
as
no,
in
no,
the
no,
Hobbit.
nothing like the Hobbit.
I got what you meant, but yeah.
But, like, long vowels carried. And it's interesting in that it's, you know, almost woven into the hammering. A very slow, steady beat. But eventually you do come across her, and you can see she's got a couple of folks who are assisting, but you can see she's got like a basically just a piece of cloth tied around her forehead to kind of keep the sweat from dripping in her face. And she's dressed much like she was, sort of a sleeveless leather vest. And you can see she's got this, massive hammer that, each time she brings it down, as you, like, now that you've gotten a lot closer, you can almost, like, feel the thud and echo of that impact as she's slamming it against the steel on the anvil. And she kind of doesn't even notice the rest of you until she eventually finishes with whatever particular set that she's in the middle of, and kind of tempers it in some water, typical steam rising up, hissing really, really loudly, and then turns and kind of regards all of you and is sort of like...
Just Wery and Hegan, right? Yeah, Wery and Hegan.
Yeah, it's just Wery and Hegan.
Wery and Hegan. Kind of surprised. She seemed to be very in the zone.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, I'd gotten to a stopping point. Needed to drink anyways. She like hands off a tool or something to her helpers. They're not really apprentices exactly, but just some additional people who looked like they were taking something over. And she kind of walks over to where she's got, basically, it looks like that barrel that she had been tapping to hand out her, moonshine. And she turns the spigot, and it, fills up a mug, downs it basically in one go, and then like fills it up again, and then just like turns to all of you and is holding it, to both of you, not all of you.
And
Yes. So
she's seeing double.
Some impressive work.
hell yeah, it is.
Definitely not something I could do. But
I'm pretty sure you have talents that lie elsewhere.
She definitely does.
definitely not not in line with swinging large hammers. But
I think it takes a little bit more than just swinging them.
right, but I can't even get as far as swinging the large hammer, so I just give it up at the beginning. But we were wondering, we have means to get to the mine more quickly if we have something from the mine. We were wondering if there was anything that you had that you might be willing to let us take to make our travel more easy and swift.
Expedition.
Sure. I mean, I've got a set of keys. I mean, if you're going to be going to the mine, you might want to have those. Just there's a administrative area of sorts near the entrance to the mine. It's got, you know, various offices and such. The council representatives never really much like being in the mine proper, so they had a place where they didn't have to get themselves too dirty.
Ugh.
That
Sounds about right.
is unsurprising.
I can get those for you.
That would be
helpful.
yeah,
Very
wonderful.
Now, it's normally I mean, if you're carrying a load of supplies or coming down, it's easy a 2-day walk, or donkey back or something. But if you're getting there a little bit faster, through magic, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. When everything went down, there's still a few folks that were probably up there. Hopefully they had the sense to stay there. But just send word if you can.
If we find them.
Keep an eye out, and if they're there, we'll let them know that things are doing a bit better down here, and and see if we can get word to you either way.
If it's safe, we may need those mines up and running again sooner rather than later. But do let us know.
We'll do
But
that.
yeah, and she goes digging into some packs and like puts one down, grabs another one, like looking through that one, and her work area seems to be very well organized, but anything that isn't like her active work area seems to be a bit of a mess, and she seems to be a little disorganized. But she eventually does find, you can hear the jangle of the keys on a thick, metal ring. She tosses it to you, Wuria. This is probably the thing that's most from the mine, I'd say.
I think it'll do.
I would suspect that the set of keys to the mine would probably be about as good as we could ask for.
Yeah. I think
Good to know. All right, then.
Well,
Our
good
intent
luck.
is to leave tomorrow, I think, so
Hmm.
we'll be on our way.
She throws back the or picks up the bug, throws it back, and kind of like, squints a little bit. But she goes to gather up her materials again. Is there anything else that you needed? So I've got work to get done.
No, thank you very much. This was very helpful.
She sort of orders around to the people who are helping her. She seems to be kind of impatient with them, and they're like doing their best as much as possible. But it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, give me the thing, and they're like, no, thing, give me the thing, and they pick up the wrong thing, and she has to point. No. But as you eventually, as you're walking away, hear her pick up her song again. So she seems to have gotten the right. So you have these keys.
Yep. Will we head back to where we were staying, since that was the plan?
Okay. Right. So the rest of you.
Leah, Moira, and Pernell, we're gonna try to find Hannah.
Okay. It's not too difficult. She's basically not really useful for a lot of things, but she has basically got a number of journals that she's carrying around and making a bunch of notations in, and seemingly she's keeping records. She seems to be like interviewing people, asking questions, and kind of keeping a ledger and a chronicle of sorts. And as she kind of wraps up a conversation with someone, she notices you both kind of watching her. She kind of walks up to you and hi. You did you need something?
Hello. Art thou Miss Hannah?
Yeah.
Oh.
She
Hello.
seems kind of like
just stare.
Yeah.
Leah
Yeah.
will just...
My name is Pernell. This is my friend Leah Moira. We heard that.
I know.
Oh, good. We heard that perhaps
Everybody knows who you are.
Mm. A little bit nervous about that.
Leah just does one of these awkward, like, oh, followed by the immediate internal monologue of, I guess I do stick out like a sore thumb here. It's kind of hard not to know who I am now.
And that is true. That's true.
If there's something I can help you with?
Well, honestly, we heard perhaps you needed help from us for something, and
you're gonna help me? She seems very surprised.
Perhaps
if we can.
No, that would be great. Yeah, no, yes. Oh goodness. Okay.
Aren't you all right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, can I insight check her? I mean, I'm assuming
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Worried, but I'm just like, she's not like hiding anything or something. I don't know.
It seems that she's just like really, really nervous and anxious to be talking to you.
That's kind of what I figured.
It's really weird.
Like, kind of like she's fangirling a little bit.
Pernell doesn't know what to do.
Pernell doesn't
with a
know how to
fangirl.
handle this.
I
feel like Leah's just like doesn't even really.
Yeah, she probably doesn't.
Like Leah's just like, well, I'm a furbog. This is kind of expected, I guess. Like, not sinking in really.
But she's a little anxious. No, so the council never approved an actual annex for the Cobalt Soul in Guarden, and so there were a number of people who sort of kind of secretly gathered together, and they I haven't seen any of them, and I don't know if anyone is okay, and then if all of the notes and things that had been collected are still safe. I haven't been able to go back since the first calls to evacuate the city went out, and I haven't seen anyone else. And I think there was a lot of knowledge that we had managed to collect. The council, they didn't care for anything that wasn't elven, but there's so much more, and so much of it was just being ignored and lost, and so we were trying to preserve as much as we can. I mean, the oral histories of the nomads in the peninsula are alone.
Yes, of course. Where exactly is this? Do you know exactly where these books are?
It was yes. It was in the basement of the tavern. We had sort of a secret rooms. We had secret rooms down there, and it's in the southeast part of the city.
All right.
Nobody's been there for a very long time. And she gives reasonable direction. And it's basically sort of on the outer edge in one of the major intersections, not too far from that nest that you cleared out, really just kind of a couple blocks away.
All right. We can certainly take a look.
Yeah.
Were you needing an escort there, or would you simply wish us to make sure the area is clear for you?
Oh, me go?
If you would like to. I mean, you're the one who knows what you're looking for, and if there's as much there as you say, I would hate for us to miss something. That
would it be all of you going? You see, she looks like just a smidge hopeful.
Giving like Leah Moira that like side glance. Like, I am uncertain.
Yes, I guess part of that depends on
what all needs
the area
to
is
yes.
like still. Yes.
I've been at the lines, but never any further. I'm not a fighter. I collect stories.
Yes, of course.
Notes.
And that is a noble endeavor. So.
I think I've even ever punched him.
There is no shame in that. But, well, perhaps some scouting can be done ahead of time, and we can reconvene to see what we need is done.
Yes.
Yeah. She explains where you can find her, where she sort of staying, for lack of a better term, in some of the reclaimed areas of the city. She seems to, despite having what looks to be a little trace elven ancestry, does not seem at all to be very enamored of Gordon and the council.
Can't say I blame her.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So she's in the more metropolitan structures elsewhere in the city.
Very well. Perhaps we shall find you again shortly, and then see what we next need for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Then shall we, Leomora?
We shall. Go check it out.
Yeah, she basically explained, the intersection, sort of the plaza building.
Start heading that way. I may be able to scout from above, and
All right, you have wings now.
and you have a brooch, yes?
I was trying to remember. I feel like this comes up every time, and
I'm pretty sure you do.
Yes, we'll just say for the purposes of this, so we're not lost in 5 minutes of figuring it out, that you took one.
I want to say that I don't, but we can say that I do for now.
Sure.
Pass off. Elias can pass.
I stole Elias's. He's in spell time. He doesn't need that.
Exactly. He's doing legend lore or whatever the heck he's doing.
Yeah. It's a very long school.
Then we'll do some scouting around the area and see what we're dealing with.
Okay. So you gonna fly over there first, and then?
Yeah, that's
okay.
I'm pretty sure we basically dealt with most, if not all, the flyers in this area, especially with that nest.
Yeah.
So
there hasn't been any flying. It's mostly just been some of the smaller burrowy.
Okay.
So it does not take you any time at all to kind of wing your way over there. And you can see there's definitely some damage to the nearby buildings from the fire that you guys set. It doesn't look like it had actually spread all that far, just because there's some separation. But it does look like there's this centered area. But as you wing around and travel just a little bit further south, when you get to that intersection right here, that sort of like long, narrow, oblong building. Oh my gosh, that's too big.
What?
Yeah, wait, what?
I put a mark on the
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm like, which? I see blue. I see a
yeah.
Okay.
I just put some just a couple little blue dots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I have to zoom in more for that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
This building. It's burned. See,
like we burned it?
No, it's blocks away,
okay.
and there's and all of the buildings around it seem
that we had burned
fine.
Before. I was like, we didn't burn
that was
one,
that was the area that's marked C on the map, but above it, you burned down like a stables and a one or two neighboring buildings, but this thing is looks like it's burned to the ground. You can still see some timbers of the structure. It looks like it may have been like a 2-story building, maybe an inn. And there's still some of the stone and masonry from the first level that's still intact, but like all of the timber and everything from the upper story has been completely burned away, and it's just like piles of broken masonry and burned debris.
Where exactly did she say that I caught like they were in a secret room or something, but
it was underneath the tavern.
Okay.
That seemeth far too specific. Just this building.
Where is Leah at this point in relation, since she
I
is
would
not
imagine
flying?
you probably were just back
Using
at like the kind of the line that the defenders have been advancing forward, because she can fly over there and back in a
Yeah,
minute.
that's why I was like, it doesn't. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
She's mentioning through the brooch that it was burned down.
So yeah, that is there any way to? She said that it was hidden in a room in the basement.
Yeah, it was the basement itself was a series of rooms that they had taken over and used.
Well, hopefully, if it is burned, if whatever room it was in was underground, perhaps it's still there.
And that is what I am hoping as well. This is.
How does the surrounding area look?
Untouched.
Yes, this seemeth most deliberate.
And there's no beasts or anything roaming around, right?
You didn't see anything alive, but there were a number of bodies of various creatures. The aberration.
Plenty of bodies, nothing active.
So it seems like someone may have come in and... Who would do that, though? Genuine question from Leah, because Leah's like, yes. Why would you want to burn a thing that just...
That is the question. But if it is simply this building, something tells me they knew exactly what was there.
Yes. Well, hopefully they didn't reach the key contents.
Can I
still in there.
Can I see anything that might look like an access to, like, through the rubble, like any kind of lower level, like
you can
dig through a little bit.
Yeah. Go ahead and I mean, you can. How much time do you want to spend searching?
I mean, we have, because
it's piles of burnt wood. You can see broken furniture, burned. You know, most everything. It's you've probably seen a burned building before and what it looks like.
Oh yeah.
Like, if she's
not a lot
looking
left.
at all, Leah would probably ask, "Can you see any sort of a door? Perhaps a trap?"
Just for
door?
reference, how far? I don't think the brooches let you cast message.
There's like a little extra. I think it was a little extra
150
distance.
feet.
Yeah.
No, it can cast the message cantrip at will. Hold on, I have it in my
So I would have to be some ways into the town.
Basically, it's the message cantrip at will between them, or you can use it once per day to someone who doesn't have a brooch.
Okay, it's just 120 then. Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean, I would have assumed then, especially in that case, that Leah would have been making her way in, and then as soon as she's within range. So if Leah's close,
yeah, to help, we can both look.
I was gonna say, yeah, if Leah can catch up,
yeah,
because especially if it's moving, you know,
yeah, we can both do some sifting.
Lumber that are now just debris, kind of. Yeah, Leah will come help.
Leah, can you go ahead and make a survival check?
Yes, I.
Wisdom survival.
Let me find my fun Leah die here.
I can't help you with this
looking
one.
For predators and other things, so that you're not caught. You know, because you are, going through the city by yourself.
Oh, that was almost better.
You do have a chat inspiration if you want to use it.
What does that do?
It's a D6, like a bardic inspiration.
Okay, I will add that.
Just not quite as fancy as we're a bardic inspiration.
It's not as good as I could have been. Okay, so that was that. 16?
Okay.
Thank you, chat inspiration, for buffing that up a little bit. I think 16. Can I math?
That's a gamer.
Yes. 16.
So the Pernell takes off on her wing, and you're like, I can't message. I'm gonna follow. I mean, there is like a major street thoroughfare that runs almost the whole way, just on its own.
I'd imagine if Leah's like jogging there because she's got nothing better to do. Yeah.
Right. But like a number of the people at the line, you're just like, excuse me, and you kind of like step through the barricade or over the barricade in some. And you're like, you can hear behind you, going alone?
Do you hear the people?
And it just sort of like some whispers a little bit as you're just like, I'm just gonna stroll. Along the way, you do see sort of recent evidence of some of these creatures. Not a lot of them, and you take a slightly more circuitous route, so it takes you a couple of minutes to get there. But you would get there probably about the time that Purnell has probably finished a number of aerial sweeps and has landed to do some of her searching. So you can definitely help lift and search and things.
Okay.
Yeah. It takes a bit of time, but you do eventually manage to clear away a significant amount of debris after finding what looks to be a trapdoor in what may have been the kitchen.
Okay. So, given the directions that we had, I was going to say, Leah's looking primarily for doors, probably on the floor, hopefully on the floor, in hopes that didn't get burned. So,
right, and so it's it's more like the remains of a trapdoor, in that it's dark and charred, and warped, but mostly it didn't get completely incinerated.
Well, that looks hopeful. Can we together, does it open?
Be cautious, given our prior instances with dwarfs.
Yes, but I would rather open it now than...
This one at least seems as if it was burned before, which...
I mean, actually, Leah has no idea how to check for traps. I feel like furbolgs don't trap things. So.
No, like the idea that you would put a trap to hurt someone who would go through a door is kind of almost a foreign concept.
So for now, I'll just be like, I mean, I would rather, I guess if something bad is going to come out of it, I'd rather it happen when it's just us rather than when Hannah's standing here. Too.
Yes, I'm at least a bit more dexterous, so perhaps I can...
So it opens with difficulty, just because it's so heavily damaged. But you can see a ladder. It's like, I guess it's really more of a series of really, really ridiculously tall steps. Kind of like what you might see in like a ship. I don't know if I'm describing it. It's
I think
like a rope ladder type?
It's very much, they're not up to code.
Yeah.
And
like an old basement cellar. Like it's just like it does its job, but it's not safe or ideal.
It has a little bit more rise than it has run.
Yeah.
And
is it dark down there?
It's very dark. Yes.
Well,
there's
goggles.
No okay. All right. So you descend first. It's a bit of a tight squeeze for Leah to get through the opening and down the stairs.
Not have dark vision, so
yeah.
At
least take a look first.
Especially if it's that dark, she may stay up at the top, make sure nothing else comes around, and then if Purnell yells up or whatever, she'll go down. But she can't see, so
right. Okay.
Get you a torch, but there might be books down here, so
yeah, she's figures if they're just scouting, especially she will stay
right
at the top for now, and let me know if you find anything.
Of course.
Okay. So you descend down into the darkness. And down here, you mostly smell burnt wood still. It's it looks like it was a cellar at some point. And there's still the remains of what look to be some barrels or something that have been cracked and broken. But there's a door opposite that it looks like it's been just completely knocked off of its hinges. And there looks to be another room on. In the dim light, it's just, you can see a lot of dirt a lot of debris down here. But this room seems to be pretty straightforward and featured.
Yeah. I'm gonna check out the room with the door off his hinges and just mutter into the message bracelet about it up to or message up to Leah.
Okay. So it looks like it's another chamber. This looks more like it had been a cellar at some point, converted into not necessarily office space, but you can see what looks to be a desk of sorts. Chair's been knocked over. It looks like the desk has been ransacked. All the drawers have been pulled out. And you can see that there are a number of bookshelves across the room that are all bare.
Given what we saw back at the at the wizard's thing, can I like look around for any sort of like extra stuff that might have gotten like someone who was really quickly going through might not have found, like when they were looking for secret?
Go ahead and make a
compartments,
perception check. Unfortunately, it's at disadvantage because it is dim light down here.
Yeah.
I mean, you could like light something up if you
That's
had
true.
it.
I do have a torch, so.
Okay. In which case, if you light the torch, that'll give you enough light to actually see what you're doing.
Okay. Terrible perception. Okay. Natural 19 plus 6, so 25. Yep. 25.
Okay. There actually is it looks like it's a hidden catch in the stonework. And you kind of find it and push it in, and you hear sort of a woofing of air as the wall cracks open nearby.
Thank you, Aiden. I'm going to check that out.
Okay. So you open it up, and it looks like here is may have been sort of like living quarters of sorts. You can see what looked to be 3 beds, but they look like they've been tossed as well. And it looks as if someone had gone through and taken most everything. In this particular room, you do see what looks to be remains of some humanoid that are horribly burned. And then nearby, just what looks to be like a large pile of gray ash and dust. 2 of them.
Oh. Is there anything here that isn't like dust that might be like identifiers for, oh, I don't know, Cobalt Soul or like any kind of like items that they could possibly show to Hannah that might?
The body of that's burned is largely unrecognizable. Whatever clothes it was wearing, or adornments it had are burned, destroyed, or unrecognizable.
Okay. And there's nothing left in this room otherwise? Like,
not that you can see.
Nothing hidden if she took a bit?
It looks like the only thing that had been hidden was the room itself.
Okay. Well, if she doesn't see anything else besides that, just gonna... She might kind of like bow her head respectfully towards the remains, assuming what she assumes about this, and turn back and go head back up.
When she gets back up, Leah will just, well, was anything left? Was anything still there?
everything seems to be taken, or, well, there were some remains, unfortunately, in piles of ash.
Remains? You mean
Humanoid.
someone was there?
Hidden quarters. Perhaps the prior, well, members. But I know not for sure. There was nothing identifiable.
Still, Hannah might know. I mean, if it was a secret room, it sounded like there was only a few of them who even knew it existed.
Yes. Perhaps number, but...
I don't understand why somebody would... She said it was just history, right? Why go to such lengths to destroy history?
There are many who think that those in the past made mistakes that they doth not want repeated, or they doth not want others to see the knowledge that was had. At least that's what I hath learned with Elias and Vasselheim. Apparently many go to great troubles to not repeat the mistakes of my time. But whether this is the case or not, I know it's not.
I mean... Sorry, that's my oven. John's getting it.
I was like, is everything okay?
Okay,
This is
okay.
fun because I was like, oh, he probably can't hear it through his headphones. And I was like, I don't want to just like get up in the middle of a conversation.
A quiet voice in the air.
That's Leah's pager. No, I have another call on my brooch coming in. Hang on.
By the way, we can
Sorry
at
about
least
that.
let Hannah know.
I mean, yes, and there don't seem to be currently monsters or the aberrations around. So if she wishes to come back to check it out for herself.
There's a lot of bodies out front of aberration.
I mean, yeah, but they're not alive.
No.
Yeah.
Dead
Is there,
aberration.
do any, like, yeah, does this kind of, like, setup of what happened here, like, is there anything we can infer that what might have happened? Is it, like...
Potentially.
How things piled up when they were
Right.
trying to get into a place before, like, in the Shadowfell, even though, like, well, Pernell wasn't there, Leah Moira was there, though.
Right. So what I would say, as you kind of investigate, it looks as if, judging by the wounds and damage on the various aberrations that are here, it looks as if they were all crushed. Based on what you can see, there are a number of them that look like they may have been picked up and like just bodily thrown against nearby walls and buildings, and you can see damage on the buildings where there had been an impact.
You said the aberrations have been crushed?
The aberrations
Yes.
have been crushed.
Yeah, and then just like beaten, smashed.
That's unnerving.
Yeah, does it seem
from
like...
where it's not there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea.
Thanks, I don't
suddenly,
like
though,
that.
But like,
Yeah,
it
does it
doesn't
seem
make
like in
sense.
any
Can-
way that
can
we've seen
Leah-
before?
Is
Like
there? I was gonna say, can I make like a nature check or something? Because Leah's fought aberrations a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah,
Like,
you can
do I
make
know of
a
anything that could pick one up and throw it? Because Leah's
well,
throat was,
anything large enough and
Well,
strong
yeah,
enough
but,
could pick one
like-
of these up and throw it. But they were not killed by anything with teeth or blade.
It's 15
I mean, they were
for a nature check. So
these things were crushed. Most of them are the smaller one.
yeah.
And it looks like, I mean, maybe a giant could like something that would like literally just
Like step on
crush
it,
it.
or like
step on, like not, yeah, but basically a lot of them are
Squeezed?
are squeezed. Yeah.
Hmm.
oh, that is
Well,
unnerving.
perhaps she, at the very least, Hannah might know. I guess who might want to.
Something
to
that
such
large,
lengths.
someone must have seen. Well,
something, you would think, but I mean,
Exactly.
perhaps if it was under cover of night or something, and
Perhaps.
they have a way of just appearing sometimes, and nobody's been this far in, I feel like, so.
If it is aberrations being crushed, I doubt it was another aberration.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we can
either
at
way, I
least
guess we
tell Hannah,
shall-
yes.
Yeah.
Go back and try
but
to
yeah.
find her.
No, there weren't any other that you could find sifting through the rest of the rubble and ruin. There weren't any other remains of any other humanoids. Just a number of aberrations that looked like they'd been all crushed or smashed or beaten.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll go back and see if Hannah has any more
Yeah.
information about that.
So I'll be right back. I'm listening. I'm right here.
Okay.
Let her know what we saw.
Okay. So when you go back, she's kind of surprised to see you so soon and so quickly. She's very eager to kind of hear what you have to say, but she can kind of see the expression on your faces. So she kind of knows before you speak.
We are sorry.
Something bad happened.
It doth seem so. The entire building was burned, but
Burn.
Yes.
a number of aberrations crushed out front by some large... It seemeth not a creature, but... well, perhaps a creature.
Something large, but seemingly intelligent enough to knowingly crush these things.
What about the chambers underneath?
Also, a mix of burned and ransacked. I did find
Ransacked?
some humanoid bodies. I know not how many were supposed to be here, but I found one and some ash and dust.
Dust?
2 piles. I know not.
2 piles of dust?
I know not what else was in that room, but it seems some kind of
it was-
bedchamber.
Is where they would sleep and stay, to stay hidden from the council.
It's,
I
mean, it's possible whoever burned the place just didn't know that there was actually people there, but still,
No.
can you think of anyone who would burn the place? Who would want to destroy that?
No.
It doesn't make any sense
but-
to me.
I mean, the trap door was warded by magic. Aberrations shouldn't have been able to get in. Maybe.
This was
Given the lack of damage to the surrounding buildings, it did not look like aberrations are what destroyed it.
at least not the ones that, well, there was also aberrations destroyed there, so...
Yes. Seems something came in and specifically torched only that building, and especially if they were guarded by magic, I would assume they would have had some way of undoing it.
I know not the specifics
said
of
not-
the enemies of the Cobalt Soul.
Yes. Well, and you said it was only, a few of you that even knew about it?
Well, I mean, there were the 3. She gets a little cagey. There were 3. And she kind of like, she'd been wearing that cobalt blue scarf. She kind of like kicks it off. I'm ever really, well, I was part of the soul.
Stiffening up a little bit at that.
But I accidentally destroyed Mary once.
You're
it
cutting out
wa-
again, so I don't know.
It really wasn't my fault. I mean,
What did she destroy? Because that
A
part
library.
Okay.
A library.
you were
Oh
cutting out.
no.
Yeah, I filled in the blanks there. I just assumed
I
the
Took me a second.
figured
library.
what it was, but yeah.
And it was, I mean, the books were mostly unharmed. It was really just, you know, the pottery and the art objects and stuff that had been stored in the exhibits that were, I mean, it's just the shelf was really high and
And so what they
so yes, I was an acolyte once. And I had thought that maybe if I could help here, they would let me back in, but they I knew where they
Huh?
I had to
cutting out
give them
again.
information.
cut out.
I knew where they were, and I was trying to give them information and help. I am good at what I do. But they
What
didn't
exactly do
deserve
you
that.
do?
Oh, I just talk to people, and I'm really good at listening. People just like telling me their stories.
Insight. I want to see
Yeah,
if she's just if there's anything
actually-
that she's hiding about that.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. Can Leah also? I mean,
Sure.
I can even just use passive insight. Honestly, I feel like because
She seems
Leah's pretty
pretty
trusting, so like
22.
She seems pretty guileless, actually, and she's like honestly like
yeah. I want to see if that was an act or not, because after hearing that,
no.
Also-
She doesn't really seem to be someone who'd be good at dissembling or lying. Even she seems very earnest and I mean, even if the council had found us, they would never do anything like that. And I mean, most of the council had been gone by the time the city was evacuated. They left long ago. I mean,
Yes.
there shouldn't even be anyone who would even have the magic to be able to get in.
So you said that the histories that were down there, was this the histories of the nomadic people that you spoke of, or was this?
The life and the history of the non-elf of Gordon.
Ah. So from what I've heard, then it's. But still, Gordon has been abandoned. Why? Surely they are not so petty as to come back just to get rid of all history that is not theirs.
No. This doth not seem like the council either. Hannah, have you heard any stories as you have been talking to people about some large creature or...
No, I mean, there is that big worm that you all killed. I mean, that was really cool, by the way. Like, wow. But that's like the biggest thing that I'd heard of.
Perhaps maybe Weary has heard stories of something, maybe?
Well, perhaps.
She seems to know a lot of things in general.
If you, I know that you all have like really important stuff that you're doing.
This is important.
So like thank you. Like, I mean, she's kind of like wringing the scarf in her hand. Someone probably. Someone should probably. She's just kind of like. Sort of just stunned and in a little bit of shock.
I should gather perhaps the ones that were there. They should not be left down there. I can go retrieve the one that was left.
Before they go back to get that whatever, Leah's just gonna kind of kneel down because tall.
You're still probably taller than her at that point.
Probably, yes.
She's
But
she's just a smidgen taller than Wuria, and that's only by
Yeah.
virtue of having a
Then
little
she
bit
will
of
probably
blood.
like sit on her knees. In that case, if she's that small, she'll
Right.
just like kind of put a hand on Hannah's shoulder and just say, "What you are doing here is important work. Where I come from, we call our family as our members by who they are and what they are. For example, I'm Leah, but I'm known there as Pathfinder. You are this town's keeper. You keep their stories, you keep their history, you keep their secrets, keep their faith. Even if you've lost what was down there, there is still more to be kept."
Just wipes away some tears.
I doth hope to learn more about them eventually.
Yes.
I have much to learn from people like you.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know when anyone is going to be leaving. But if you do end up going back, leaving or to Mali, if you go over to the Empire, find me before you go. Cobalt Social.
What, you're cut out
Cut
again.
out.
She says to find her before you leave.
Mm,
She wants to write a letter.
okay.
Maybe someone can bring it.
Mhm.
Cobalt Soul.
Very
Their
well.
libraries.
We'll go at least retrieve what remains can be retrieved as respectfully as possible so they can be
Yeah.
put to rest.
It's like the charred corpse.
Mm.
I mean, would we be able to find like an urn or something? Like,
You can probably find something.
because if they were ash, even if
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, we don't know
not,
for sure if
burn it
there are people,
more.
but
Yeah, it's not like ash like from like fire.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a charred remains of a body.
Yeah.
And then specifically it's a fine dust.
Hmm.
2 piles of them elsewhere in that room.
Yeah, which is odd. I feel like, yeah, if they're able to find something to,
You could find something. Like
yeah,
there may even be a vessel still left intact, or you can grab some kind of something
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
if you're going to go back and take some time to do that.
Mhm.
Wuria turns to Higan and is like, I'm starting to worry about them.
Yeah. It's fine. Leah's with her.
Yeah.
Watch, we'll just
All
start
right.
using Moonbeam as like a smoke signal. If something goes wrong, we'll just slap
Like-
a Moonbeam up
There
and
you
you'll
go.
just see it.
Ah,
Just
there
go
they
away.
are. We're good.
because
Smoke
when
signal.
we
Right.
talked about this before, you were going to come meet us before you went anywhere, and then you went on
That's true.
adventures.
Yeah.
To be fair, I wasn't. She was expecting there to be a little bit more there. She was expecting actual fight to need to be happen before they were doing that. So it's like, okay, this is a little bit less that than. Hmm.
Aiden and Velis. So everyone is off busying themselves with some task or other. Elias is doing ritual things.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you two wanted to do or discuss?
I can't make heads or tails of this shit.
A lot of political nonsense.
So, not of any use right now.
Nope. It is a nice distraction.
Sometimes, even a useless distraction is welcome.
Also, because there's not enough cryptic messages, I wrote up the text for the notation about
No, thank you.
that thing. I think was it a legend lore that you got before? Like I don't even remember where you got the
I
text for
heard
that.
it. I got it from Indil.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. It was like some
I was
random
basically just
snippet.
asking what information Sibylith had managed to gather.
Right. And it was basically this like snippet of cryptic messaging, and that's the verse from something much.
Look, I'm sorry for what it's worth that we didn't go sooner.
That's not your fault. I made that detour myself.
You think it was worth it?
Whether it was worth it or not, it was the smart choice.
We don't do that very often.
It sucked.
It kind of did, yeah. Let's not do that again.
If you say so.
I feel like everyone else would have something else to say about that.
They always do.
I get why. Look, you said it yourself, though. They think he's a bargaining chip, so I don't think waiting is going to make a difference. Just means that we're less likely to get fucked up when we go in there. We'll probably still get fucked up, but hey, maybe less fucked up?
I don't know. Just make sure you have that blade handy.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Well, what's the point of hiding an ace up your sleeve if you're not going to use it?
Oh, you're right, but I don't know that I'd call this one an ace. I have some concerns about it. I thought I'd see what it could do, and well, whatever piece of the spirit was in there was going crazy. But I don't know if it's even still there. I'm a little worried that it might have something worse in there now.
What did you do?
I looked at it!
Sounds like you did a bit more than that.
I looked at it and I just tried to see what it could do. It's fucked up.
I don't know if
really fucked
attuned
up.
to it is like an in-universe terminology, but
There's probably some in-universe non-game mechanic version of that.
yeah.
You mind melded? No.
I just told you to stab people with it. I didn't tell you to.
Well, stabbing people
It's not
with
like
it
you're gonna
wasn't
hold on to it permanently.
Stabbing people with it wasn't going to do much good if it was just a piece of broken metal.
Still a piece of broken, aberrant killing metal.
Maybe. It kind of changed shape. I don't know that taking it out around that is a good idea, pointing at the hilt. Actually,
I'm pretty sure he's already pissed either way, so.
I'm gonna just
You have an overwhelming sense of like.
I'm gonna use minor illusion and make an image of what it looked like.
Right. Yeah.
So I did this.
Very Underdark.
Well, that's a problem we have to deal with now.
It's a
I have to
problem
deal with.
that's in a bag, and I'm not planning on looking at it anytime soon.
So basically, what you're saying is you fucked up, and now we don't have an ace in the hole.
I didn't fuck up, and we could still use it if we wanted to. I just don't think it would have been very useful in its original state. It is powerful. It's very powerful for what you want it to do, but I don't know. Feels like there's some side effects. It tried to get in my head in a bad way.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Well, I don't like things getting in my head.
What did you see?
The body that you stabbed in the head tried to talk to me.
I think I take that over what I get.
Well, it wasn't really talking so much as rambling incoherently. It wasn't all there.
Yeah, it's a broken piece. Whatever I have is missing what you have.
It was obsessed with that Fae that you killed. But that was about all that it managed to say. But I don't know, it seemed like it was falling apart. Started pulling things. I mean, the best I can guess is out of my head. Names, places.
Probably. You think the sword looked like this when I found it?
No, but it... I don't know.
I mean, you seem like I can do it. I can change its shape pretty much on command.
There's changing its shape, and then there's... I don't know, it almost seemed like whatever was in there was getting replaced. It just kept getting more and more broken. And then it threw a demon at me and I woke up.
That's a
Well,
cool.
I'm not going to say you deserved it, but
But you deserve
you kind of deserved it.
But he deserved it.
Well, I would still rather have what happened, then what could have happened if we tried to use this without having some idea what we were using?
I mean, what more do we need to know? I feel like we've gotten its tragic backstory pretty much laid out.
Well, I think the only question I have at this point is if what it was is still in there. And I think I know how to find out, but I don't like that idea very much.
Well, you're the one who wants to find out.
Oh no, I don't want to find out that much. I'm just saying, push comes to shove, it's an option. It's just not an option that I like.
Well, there is a saying, lie in the bed you made.
I'm pretty sure you made this bed when you started putting that thing together. You started all of this.
I never said anything about you resonating with the piece I gave you.
No, you just said pull it out and start stabbing things with it without having any idea what it would do.
What's so complicated about stabbing something with a piece of metal?
Really don't think that would have done what you thought it would have.
It's very effective at killing aberrations, I'm pretty sure. I'm not asking for it to do anything more than that.
I kind of got the feeling that it's only effective at killing aberrations because it has that connection.
No, it's the material. It's a unique material.
Maybe.
Could have tested that before, and went and mind meld with it.
I mean, if we really want to test it, I'll give it to someone else and let them stab something with it.
Just pass it around.
All I'm
everybody's
saying
advice.
is be careful. I know that's a really hard concept for you.
Okay, hypocrite.
Do.
You're not really the kind of person I want to take that advice from. One,
Yeah,
because you don't, and two, because you're paranoid.
I'm only paranoid because everything has been trying to kill me lately.
Fair. But not this. Not yet.
I don't know. I just want to know what's in there.
Well, you found out. Are you happy?
Maybe. I mean, say that piece of the Delkir that was in there. I mean, I don't know, can it get replaced with something else? Is that a thing? I mean, that's what it was, but I don't know how this magic shit works.
Oh, who knows? Maybe you did me a favor.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out if we have to stab something with it.
Well, I think I'll find out when I put that piece back where it's supposed to go.
Still the plan.
Yeah. I made a deal. And I'm not really one to back out on deals.
Some deals are bad deals.
Yeah, and those are the deals I don't make.
I think you already made this one.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea. Just saying,
Well, it's a little late for backing out of things.
maybe. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe a shady bastard, but you don't really get anywhere without displaying some level of trust.
I think it's all in where you put that trust.
Yeah. And especially in the line of work we come from, trust is important. So that's why when I make a deal, I see it through.
You are very stubborn.
That's my charm.
You say so.
So I think about this. Everyone probably, at least Wuria and Hegan would be coming back. I think Leah and Purnell's
there
efforts.
waiting.
Yeah, Leah and Purnell's efforts may have been taking a little bit.
A little bit. It's okay. It's fine.
Find anything? You're muted.
Well, Wiria holds up the keys. These are the keys to the mine, so that's
Well,
helpful.
The administrative
That's
office is
useful.
mine.
Administrative offices, but I mean, I don't think the mine itself, like as a
No.
general matter, has a key.
Yeah, that's what I meant. They're not necessarily mine keys there,
but
it should be enough to get us there.
she also told us to keep an eye out. There were people up there when all this started, and she hopes that they were, well, smart enough to stay put, but wouldn't mind us letting them know if they're there or letting her know if we don't see them. So
I don't know how likely it is that anyone's still going to be alive up there, but
It
wouldn't hurt to
depends.
Oh
look.
man,
If the
cooped up in a
aberrations didn't-
mine for a couple of weeks. That sounds great.
if the aberrations didn't come from the mine, and if they had food and water, they might be just fine.
I mean, maybe, but we know what's under there, more or less.
Depends on where the aberrations came from. But either way, worth
Yeah, we don't really know if we're going down into the mine or not.
worth keeping an eye out if we do see any evidence of people, or if we see anybody, let them know that things are a little bit better down here.
Wouldn't hurt.
And she was nice enough to give us these keys, so
Well, at least someone managed something productive.
I take it you didn't find any useful information in what you were looking at.
Oh, I think
Unless you have
there's...
a vested interest in Menagerie Coast politics.
Not especially unless they impact our ability to travel around.
I mean, there might be something interesting in there, but it's all covered up under bullshit.
That sounds unpleasant.
Sounds like politics.
I honestly don't. I mean, I've heard stories of politics, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with that.
Probably for the best.
My family didn't exactly spend a lot of time, dealing with people with power. We just sort of traveled.
Probably the smarter choice, honestly.
Well, I guess we just wait for Pernell and Leah then.
Yep.
And for Elias to finish whatever he's doing.
I don't even want to ask at this point.
Is there anything else we can get done while we're waiting?
I just realized I should see if I have to attune to this.
I mean, we were gonna see about resupplying, right? Somebody could go on a run.
What specifically do we need?
I don't know. I mean, they're not gonna have any anything for healing around here. Do we have food? Food, maybe? I mean, food from a town is gonna be better than that shit that Elias magics up.
Yeah, though I suspect they don't have a lot of particularly exciting food, but
It's more exciting than a barrel of crackers.
More exciting than a barrel of crackers is a
How
very
do you
good
get crackers in a barrel? That
Well,
doesn't even make sense.
at least they're not like sad crackers. They're slightly happy crackers now.
I
It's
literally
true.
just pictured like animal crackers,
That
but
you-
like instead they're like depressed animal crackers, and now they're like slightly happier looking animal crackers. And now that is every time he makes food, it's slightly happy or pretending to be happy animal crackers.
That's slightly happy ones.
What's it with the food metaphors getting away from us?
Well, then, okay, so food that travels well, couldn't hurt. Anything else?
I mean, we've got... No, I don't think so. I mean, some mountains might be a little cold, maybe a couple extra blankets, but...
Anything for cold weather? I suspect they're not going to have a whole lot, but
It might be like chilly in the evening, maybe, but you also have to keep in mind that it's the northern hemisphere and you just passed midsummer.
Okay.
okay.
So
I have
Cold
seen
weather's
snow
likely not.
in the mountains in
Wait,
July.
midsummer?
Same, same though.
We were just
right?
at Wild's Grandeur. Shit.
isn't that Wild? No, Wild's Grandeur is like the spring equinox.
This is spring
right?
one.
Okay, so yeah, so we haven't even gotten to the hot, warmer part, so it's warming up.
Yeah, that's why Pernell
Well-
got a vest.
Let's see. I mean, Devonru's art has snow on the mountains, but you know that's
yeah,
just
I mean,
representative
It
more
depends
than.
on how tall the mountains
yeah,
are.
I mean, tall mountain peaks almost always have snow on them,
We're
regardless
going up that
of
high.
climate, just because of the
Are we talking like
altitude. But
West Virginia mountains or Rocky Mountain size
Yeah.
mountains?
right,
The Sirius Mountains are a little bit closer more to the Rockies than
Yeah,
the
there's going to be
Appalachia.
snow up
there's
there.
going to be some snow.
Let's get some blankets.
Well, I guess the question is, do we bother Indiel for that, or do we just ask around about food and blankets?
Indiel needs a nap. Let's give him a break.
Give them a
All right.
wineskin, preferably.
I don't have wine. It is definitely on the list to find Indiel some
wine just to send it to Indiel. Well, then I guess ask around about food and blankets it is.
Yeah, it is no difficulty to procure some extra supplies for food that's that'll last long enough, and then like blankets. You can all kinds of blankets. You want silk blankets, you want wool blankets, you want whatever kind of blankets you want, you can get blankets.
I mean, we
Are
do
there
have
any, Are there any like nice cloaks left over from the fancy area with like fur lining?
Oh yeah, all
Oh
sorts.
fuck yeah!
You can
I want
totally deck
that.
yourself out.
We all
want
find
that.
ourselves warm cloaks.
I'm gonna come
Yeah.
back with an
Warm,
armful
I'm
of
gonna
fur-lined
grab my
cloaks.
blanket.
Heck yes.
Sure thing. All right. So Hegan and Purnell eventually return
er.
a little bit later.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
little.
shit! I just realized something
Well,
to say
no.
to when we were bringing stuff back to Hannah.
Hannah.
Yes. There may be. Well, I have seen this before. There may be a way to learn more of what happened, but it would require, and then glancing slightly down at the charred corpse,
Mm-hmm.
looking at Leah. I have seen Elias do something similar to learn information from
Oh,
Sibyl.
that is actually, I did not even think of that, but you are right. I believe as long as we have some form of the body, he can ask it things.
You need an intact
You
head.
need an intact head, yeah.
I know
Like,
that.
it's
Got it.
charred, but
Most,
there.
you've got
Know
most of
those
a skull.
Skull, yeah.
It's just charred.
So, yeah.
Yes, that's why it
Yeah.
would definitely be worth
Yes.
asking, I believe.
Yes, if that would be all right, we can ask if it is something that.
If sure, friend Elias, the capable.
You're cutting out again completely. Gotta.
I'm trying to talk too much in character.
Yeah.
Stage whisper. Stage whisper.
Stage whisper.
Yeah, no, she's like, yeah, she mentions him by name, but specifically does say that she would believe that, like, he seems like he would have the ability to do something like that based on what she knows. Although she's sort of like puzzled for a moment. Remember him being a devotee of the Matron of Raven.
How didst you know that?
That's good.
She said, "Oh,
Stalker.
Yeah, a little worried now.
Wait, was she the one that sent that secret note, or did we already know who that was? I forget.
Wait, which?
Secret note?
Didn't Elias, like, the very first time we were
Oh,
here,
no,
like,
the one that-
somebody randomly, like,
That
stuck
was
a note in
the-
his hand?
No,
Did he
that
ever-
was
That was
the
the
rest
group-
of
someone else.
The Raven Queen.
It was-
followers of the Raven Queen.
Okay.
it was a blood hunter and
Okay.
his
Okay.
crew, so to speak."
It was a
Uh-huh.
long time ago.
What else doth you know?
Not a lot. I mean, the Cobalt Soul, you know, they take pride in knowing things.
Yes, which is what I am asking.
When you first came to town, you had kind of caught their interest, and they didn't know if what your agenda was and who you represented. But they had seen there was a meeting, and some folks that they knew met with Olive. So kind of just assumed.
Wait. Folks they knew.
Yeah, it's some members of she's sort of like really quietly into her voice. The Claret Order.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, us underground organizations got to stick together. Huh.
I see. So just what they knew? Like she got super fucking nervous at that entire point. Just
Leah's just, like, not
mean,
sure,
Like, there's a lot of stories everyone been throwing around, and I'm sure people have seen all kinds of, like, you know, you've done some. I mean, you went to the Lushgut Forest and came back. Like, that in and of itself is like hero stories and stuff.
Wait, did she say that out loud?
Yes.
Leah's just like, wait, I'm sorry, coming out of the Lushgut Forest, that is what makes us...
Well, I mean, like,
Leah's just
like,
like,
you're,
huh.
usually
Thought of it that
people
way.
usually people don't go there
Yeah.
and come back. So like
I mean,
it's
usually people just don't
dangerous.
go there.
But I might reiterate
Yeah.
to Leah Moira that, like, the whole thing about Gordon being founded by people that left the Lushgut Forest and never went back.
Ah. I mean, yes, we don't venture out much ourselves, but...
Yes. Telyana is something of legend to these people. But... well, we should see what we can learn. We shall see about finding you before we leave.
Okay. Thank you. And if you can, I mean, I would like to know what happened.
As would I, honestly.
Details are so thin.
You're doing the thing again.
The details are so thin.
Mm-hmm. Guess head back. Try to be discreet. Like, she has the remains probably, like, and if there's any kind of, like,
Right.
cloth or anything we could have found in the rubble that
Right.
wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, she's probably back herself to so that wherever they can go. If you wanted to do the cast the spell, then happy. Like she I mean, other than just feeling sort of a duty to return them to somewhere and let the Cobalt fellow know, she like and she doesn't seem to be distraught in losing those people.
Yeah, it's mostly the stuff that was there. Yeah.
And based on what she's described, very likely, they either didn't associate with her or didn't like her much.
Yeah.
Or something.
I feel like, if anything, Leah Moira feels a bit relieved. Hi, kitty. I just feel paws on my knees. A bit relieved at that of like, well, at least we didn't have to bring back her best friend's remains or something. Like, doesn't say anything like that.
No, she's like, I don't have any friends.
Well, you do now.
Oh.
Yes, Leah Moira definitely has taken a liking to this Hannah girl.
Yeah. As I head back, just gonna peek over at Leah Moira. I would certainly like to know what could do that to all those aberrations, and that this cannot simply be history of non-elves in Gordon for them to be so thorough.
Agreed.
Or there's something in that makes more sense than mere, well, names.
Yes, I guess we can only hope that Elias can get something out of it.
Mm.
All right. So when you return a little bit later, I think
carrying
actually
charred remains.
carrying the charred remains. This
Wrapped
now
up.
would probably be a good time for a quick, maybe 10-minute break or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Break time!
Let people
I
drink
need
and
to take
stretch.
Haku out, so
Yeah.
I need coffee.
Okay. Break time, everyone.
that.
10 minutes. We will be back in 10 minutes.
Also, the sticker on my Apple Pencil finally ate shit. So, question is, do I put the owls on?
We shall deal with this the way we deal with everything else.
Punch him in the asshole.
Yes, the prison pocket.
What is with you? Prison?
I'm gonna use that new spell that I got just to punch Nox. I think I'm gonna do it. If we're not doing it tonight, I think I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna wallop him right now.
I was trying to have a moment, but no.
It's Bureau's fault. Blame Bureau. He's the one who said it.
I said it once.
I know.
So
I shouldn't have said it to
Yeah, but when John hears it and he loves something, he's gonna run that joke into the fucking ground. That's what you don't understand.
he's gonna bury that thing 10 feet deep.
Here lies
10
prison
feet
pocket.
up the prison
Episode
pocket.
55 to 80.
Side behind you, those of you who are still in the four-way intersection,
Oh boy.
you watch as coming out of that weird green glowy liquid
Motherfucker.
is another one.
Fucking
God
hell.
damn
I knew I should have drank it. I knew I should have drank it. Would've been fine.
I
No.
don't
Glad
think
you
you should have drank the
No.
snake liquid.
People have been telling me that for years. I've never taken their advice.
Oh my god.
Big inspiration.
What you gonna do?
Someone clip that, please. Tommy, clip that shit.
And I fist hard. And I fist strong.
All right, I'm down. Let's do this.
I'm not King Shimmer. Let's do this.
Excellent. Prepare your body. No. You should not eat dinner before this. Otherwise, you might puke it all over me, and that is just... Ugh. We are fisters here, men of culture.
Well, I had fun.
I don't know. It seems like a rather unsatisfying finish, don't you think?
I don't know. I'm pretty satisfied.
Many times. He set himself up for that fucker.
Elias just falls out of his chair.
This one quickly reaches out to catch him.
This is at least worth. If something's going on in this city involving, I'd like to know about it.
Of course, I shall follow their lead.
Yeah.
But for now, I know thou wishest to have thy spell time.
Spell time?
She just like she doesn't really know.
That's a phrase.
She's like, that's...
Is that what they're calling it now?
He wants to go alone into the bedroom.
Modern slang
Put out some incense. What do you think?
It's gonna take me like 10 minutes.
Nah, I'll just void that. I'll cast locate object on gold coins.
You get several thousand dings on your locate object. Without too much trouble with that, you are able to find the horde of Zuthus, the corroded soul.
Woo!
We found them. Yay.
Fike, I shall not say this very often, but get the hole ready.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit in the bag, brah. It's not
You
fitting
just
in the
got
bag.
experience points.
Yes!
Let's go. Let's go.
I hope you've got quite a few other a small army of capable fighters with you.
Smash cut to small army fighting people in the ring in that bar.
Ding, 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 ding.
Smash cut to Vanya and Orion fighting what looks to be about a dozen other dwarves in a caged ring.
Please tell me Vanya is wielding Orani like a club and is just and is swinging down, stopping right before that Orani punches. Hey, the punching club, my only weakness.
Just leave one leg open so I can kick him too.
Smash cut back to the office. Smash cut back to the office of Nostock.
You could say we have something along those lines.
Specifically, that one's called, fuck.
It's a weird name for an island. Fuck.
Fuck it, I said
really
it.
don't want to go there.
Now. It's Fuck Island.
It's either the best or the worst island in the archipelago.
So named.
It's definitely not a mediocre experience, though.
So named because everybody who goes there says, fuck, this is a terrible place.
That's actually their slogan. Fuck, this is a terrible place.
Yeah, it's what their tourism bureau tells people. Yeah, so as you're going by Fuck Island, you hear some crows saying, yeah, the people on Fuck Island are fighting each other again.
I don't suppose the crows recognize any cult symbols?
Nah, no cults there. Just 3 different groups of people with very strong ideas about what to do.
Just a bunch of fuckers, really.
Yeah, basically.
So these fuckers want to raise taxes.
Only some of the horrible things going on are cult things. The rest are just regular terrible people.
Just double checking.
That's fair.
Because, I kind of want to know who our neighbors are, but that'll be on that goes on to the to-do list.
All right. Yeah. I will. Let me come up with some quick faction names for you while we're sailing.
The factions that we can get to fight each other harder.
Sure. They're already in a turf war. You can't start one amongst them.
Okay, so our goal is to stop the turf war. Got it.
We need to unite the fuckers against a common foe.
Common fuckery.
Friends, Romans, fuckers.
Under the banner of common fuckery.
Oh, I'm so glad we named it Fuck Island. Oh,
I thought I didn't have enough caffeine for this, but apparently I
do. I'm just gonna go ahead and start another Google Doc real quick for Fuck Island. 'Cause I think we're gonna see more of it in the future. Alrighty. So yeah, you pass by Fuck Island. The fuckers are fighting the fuckers are fighting the shitters again.
Fuck you all. I might be crying. I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, you're gonna have to give me a second. Okay.
Fucking same.
If we conquer it and then eventually trade it away in a business deal, we could give somebody a fuck. Or if we refuse to do it, we would not give a fuck.
Fuck you!
Look at all the fuck I have to give. Yeah. Okay.
If the shitters are involved, I don't want to take any shit.
I think I'm just dead, guys. I'm sorry.
Their main factions are now canonically the fuckers, the shitters, and the dammers. The fuckers really want to fuck shit up. The shitters just the shitters are big on the idea of public infrastructure, specifically for sewage, and the dammers are really, really big on building dams for some reason.
They're a big fan of beavers.
Yeah, big fan of beavers. They're beaver people. Yes.
So it's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure planning.
It's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure of two people who have very strong ideas on two groups of people who have very strong ideas about what the main form of public infrastructure should be and what their focus should be, versus one other group of people who just really, really want to fuck shit up.
I just thought, like, the fuckers were just, like, really into just making it a very island brothel.
Fuck.
This is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book.
Almost.
It's really all just really about the type of whorehouse they want.
Well, we'll work on it. I'll write something for Fuck Island. Do not fear.
You're
the
welcome.
main takeaway for now: beaver people are now canon for ULEA. They will all speak in Newfie accents. All of them. All right. So yeah, Fuck Island. That is now.
Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this.
And I'm gonna inflict wound.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna do inflict. Whoops. Come back.
Inflict whoops.
Whoops. Inflict whoops. As if I made a terrible mistake.
Very educational.
Of course, it is my calling to aid those in the name of the Wild Mother. You are a follower, and from what I've seen, a good one. And it was my pleasure to assist you in such a daunting task.
Given all that, she said you would be most effective of a teacher, and she was not wrong.
Well, I have long caught the Wild Mother's eye in doing good works for her for many a year. And the fact that she would say something like that to you about me.
Just watching this being like both a bit like surprised and also like, oh shit, she called him a crotchety asshole. I'm not gonna don't think about it.
I did so enjoy slicing into his flesh that one time. I was a battle axe that time. It was pretty cool.
He just like does that. Oh, it's so fucking weird to hear you say pretty cool.
I'm picking up the nomenclature. Things have changed a bit, but I'm starting to pick up, the lingo.
Ren would appreciate him way more than Arani.
Cool. I'm hip with it.
Tucka. I just realized he does kind of have a Dr. Evil's voice.
I hit with it. I get jiggy. I get down.
Let us return at a later time.
Very well. Did you wish to speak to anyone, Seo?
Who do I speak to?
Depending on your needs, the High Priest? Or whatever the equivalent is for temple.
Who's the High Priest?
I would suppose you would look for the... What is the correct term for this? Biggest badass in the yard? Is that right?
Oh, I see where this is going, so that means I gotta kick their ass. No?
I would not open with that, but the chances are there.
And coast another lightning beam across it. Fuck you, Ren. You're a terrible person. And it is barely standing.
Fucking
It is barely standing.
That's what I get for trying to play you.
Yeah, it's not the tracks didn't necessarily get smaller, Fike. They just changed shape and became bipedal instead of quadrupedal.
Fast it up. The bear's walking on two legs now.
No, it's definitely not bear tracks anymore. It's definitely
it's not bear.
No, they're
changing the shape of his foot.
They're definitely humanoid.
Father Fike was about to have a conniption with
Oh, yeah.
freaking Noxus. He's about to be like, "You fucking idiot! It's still a fucking bear."
That's how we couldn't find
It's a tricky bear. It found shoes. It put shoes on. This is where it sat and put on shoes. And the struggle with the laces.
This is what happened to the last traveler. It fell for a trap.
It wore its last traveler's skin.
Oh God!
I don't know how big that.
Yep.
Okay. So, we're back. What are you doing?
Well, I assume if Pernell and Leah walk up with charred remains, where is this going to
wrapped
be like,
wrapped in a cloth, but
Right. Yeah.
We may need Eliza's help.
What happened? And
Something very odd happened to their, well, not quite library.
I thought you were going to come back before we did anything.
Apologies.
Yes, apologies, Weir. Yeah, there were no, well, there was nothing to fight.
Yes.
But did you know there was nothing to fight before you went there?
Or did
Yes.
you assume there was
We
nothing to
scouted
fight?
first. We scouted first.
You scouted inside before you went inside.
Well, outside
that
first,
is
and
part
then
of why we went to scout first.
yes.
To see
Mm.
if we
Whatever
needed to bring everyone or not.
Yes. The fight that was there already happened. I know not how long ago, but something deliberate happened to that library.
Next, let us know.
Just in case.
Again, apologies.
It's just, if something had gone wrong, none of us would have known what happened.
Yeah, act like they're not capable of taking care of themselves.
It's less capable of taking care of themselves and more things have a way of going spectacularly and horribly wrong.
Trust
I
me,
think we're
things
mostly
already
pretty good at running
went
away, screaming
spectacularly
when
and
things
horribly
go
wrong.
spectacularly wrong.
Yes, we would not have stayed to fight on our own if there's.
That is part of why we did stay, though, is because something had already gone.
Well, at least it's just me
spectacularly
that we don't
wrong.
trust to make decisions, apparently.
I mean, I'd like everybody to talk about decisions before they're made.
I do.
Well, no one
see
died.
Hijinks'
I
point,
mean,
though, of
today, so
sometimes-
it's fine.
Sometimes the amount of time it would take to communicate to the entire group, especially when we are split up, is
Yes.
not that you don't have a point, Waria, but I guess I can see Aiden's side of this one too. So.
I feel like that's also something that I've tried to explain a few times.
You do it too many times, I think is the problem. In
I
fact,
mean,
you
you
haven't
haven't
explained it
even
more
been
than once.
here.
I mean,
I know you well enough.
I recognize that all of us sometimes make. I don't know if calculated risks is the right phrase.
I
but,
have never done that.
But
insight check.
If the situation is, well, there's a library that we're going to check out and we don't know what's going on, that doesn't seem like a situation that is so immediate that
It more seemed like a quick errand to help try and find some books. That
Agreed.
Quite
And-
honestly, did not feel like we needed to drag everybody in there, and it turned out that we didn't.
Well,
So I understand your point, Waria, but the length of time that I feel it would have taken would have simply been wasted.
Anyway, no one died that wasn't clearly dead for a while, gesturing at the bodies, so it's fine.
By the way,
There's
something.
only one body. The others are just two piles of dust.
Yeah, something very strange happened. It was some. I know not if it was a creature or, but there was a pile of aberrations outside of that building that was raised to the ground.
Yes, and they were
Pile of aberrants crushed to death.
apparently, yes,
Thrown.
killed by something much larger than them.
Crushed?
Crushed, as if a giant came through.
honestly, that makes me even more concerned about the fact that you went by yourself.
All right, forget about that
Not
for now.
like they
Wait,
knew they would find that there.
I think that if there was a giant around here, then someone would have noticed.
That was my thoughts as well.
That is the curious thing is.
I
we
mean,
don't know how long ago this happened exactly.
Which is,
Well,
I was
feel
hoping
like
that perhaps
would they
Elias's
have
magics
left
that he used with Sibboleth would be able to shed some light on it. But
yes,
that's a useful idea.
everything was taken below. There was nothing but body and some piles of dust and
So you're
and
saying
hidden.
this seems
room.
almost, if they took everything, almost targeted?
Exactly. This
seems
was
to
far
be, but we
beyond
cannot-
the mindless aberrations, and
Well,
given the pile of bodies out
aberrations
of it.
wouldn't kill themselves.
Exactly.
That too.
The
Well,
thing
not
is,
that-
what
Hannah said that the door that where the library was hidden was guarded with magic, and I
Yeah,
mean,
that
it
was
definitely
gone.
was not when we got there.
the thing is, like, I don't think that it could have been that long ago if she didn't know that it happened.
She
I
I
didn't
mean, how
know,
long
but-
has it been since anybody's
Yeah.
been in town?
I was gonna say,
in
when
that
did-
section
how
of
long
it.
ago did we evacuate? It's been at least a couple
They-
weeks, hadn't it?
Yeah, they evacuated before, like in the time period when everyone had left Guarden to go off to the Leshka Forest. In like the weeks and weeks that you spent traveling, and then in the Shadowfell, and then the weeks and weeks coming back, all of that kind of happened then. So it's been weeks.
Can we tell how long that it's been dead?
I mean, we were hoping Elias.
Do you
unless one
have
of us is trained
proficiency in medicine?
Yes, that is. Yeah.
Does he? No, doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Nope,
No, he
I
doesn't. He
don't.
was saying that.
I don't think
Actually, have
anybody
proficiency
does.
in medicine.
He's not that kind of. He's
Zero.
not that kind
He's
of
not
cleric.
that kind of cleric.
I mean, I have jack of all trades, but that's about it.
It's been based. I mean, it's charred remains. It's been a while.
Yes.
I mean,
For all
the
we know,
based on the
this
based on
happened
the
right after we left.
the decomposition of the bodies for all the aberrations. I mean, it's like it's hard to tell because like Those don't decompose like regular things do.
All right, we can ask questions about each other or of each other about it all day, or we could just ask Elias to come out of his room and do something helpful.
Hey, Elias, come be useful.
Oh, it's not to use those exact terms, but that is why.
I don't see the problem. Whatever gets the job done at this point. I don't think he'll be offended.
No.
Fair enough. I actually agree. He probably will not care that much.
He's used to it.
Aiden, Villis, do either of you know what sort of large creature could do such a thing to aberrations? It did not seem there were no sword marks, no claws or biting, but
we haven't seen anything that big around here, so I mean, best bet is
kind of tracks leading. I figured something that big would leave some kind of
some kind of track. You would think.
A giant that would have, if there was an actual literal giant.
Yeah,
it would have left clear footprints in the cobble.
You said there was magical warding on it. Clearly, I mean,
disregard the giant thing. I mean, there are plenty of magical things that can make people change their shape in all kinds of ways.
Maybe not even change their shape, or just use magic.
That had not occurred to me before, but now that you say it, is possibly was this.
Sounds like somebody did what we did to the assembly, but except we took everything, didn't burn anything.
It seemed quite deliberate to try to get everything from there after.
Hell, maybe it was the assembly.
That is.
Doesn't seem like it though. It
possible.
I mean, we won't know for sure unless we ask. But when we asked Hannah,
I mean, Tversky was looking into extraplanar threats. I mean,
but that's just the thing is this.
It's what she specializes in. Exactly. It's not necessarily that there's an imminent threat.
Yes.
Well, aside from the aberrations running rampant.
Yeah, but why burn the building?
Yes, that is the question, because the knowledge and the history that was in there was apparently just everything, essentially the non-elven history of Guarden, and.
Or so Hannah said. That seemeth. Either there was something in there beyond.
It's possible there was more than she knew.
It's also true that the assembly and the Cobalt Soul aren't exactly best friends. So it's not something to rule out. But I mean, we're just
to come in to a place that clearly was crawling with aberrations just to burn some.
Why not just ask the one who knows? Elias,
I mean, hey,
who
are the aberrations gonna tell? Seems like a perfect opportunity.
I mean, it more seems like the aberrations were doing a pretty
I'm gonna
good
go
job
get
of keeping
Elias
everybody out.
since yelling isn't working.
That's the point. Everybody else is out. If you're confident in your own skills to get in there and not die to an aberration, it's a perfect opportunity.
There is that.
You get 5 questions.
Okay. Good question.
So he sets up the ritual. Actually, it's not even a ritual, it's just a cast.
How it just like first one should probably be who or what killed you.
Right.
What was hidden in the library?
That's also a good one.
Was anything hidden in the library
it's not
other
give you
than
straight
the
answers if it doesn't trust you?
I mean, I honestly, the first thing I would almost think not to mess with formalities, but should we?
They at least know who we were.
Should we ask who the body even is?
Or I could just give Elias the hat of disguise, and he could make it look like he's wearing Cobalt Soul robes.
It does not need. They know as to who we are.
Yes, everyone in town.
But if we're looking for a reason to giving it a reason to trust us.
They seem to they had friends.
We seem to be a bit of celebrities here.
She'll explain what she learned about the group that she and Elias had met with, having been like friends with Cobalt Soul, and that's how they learned about us. Partly, kind of, or like allies, kind of. Just got.
Well, isn't that the point of a disguise?
No, that's what I mean though. Like they
they'll talk to someone else of their own order more than they'll talk to strangers,
Were
even
they
if it's
all
strangers with a good
specifically Kobold
reputation.
Soul, though?
Perhaps, but then
I know Hannah wasn't, but
Well, yeah, we
then
don't know if
Elias
they
would
were.
have to pretend to be somebody else. You want Elias trying to pretend to be somebody
He
else?
doesn't
Elias
have to,
doesn't want to pretend.
yeah.
He doesn't have to say anything. He just has to put a fake outfit on for 5 minutes.
Well, he has to say it too, because he has to be the one asking the questions.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to answer any questions.
I
he
mean,
just
they're
has to
still
show up in a
dead.
robe.
It's yeah.
Nah, fair.
It's not like they're gonna be actively
explain
seeing if
anything.
he's in disguise or not.
He
Could
doesn't
it
have
cause
to explain
problems,
anything. He just
though?
has to put a robe on and talk, and they'll assume
Could
he's
it
with
cause
the Kobold Soul.
problems if one of their own doesn't know what was in their library?
Not necessarily. There's
They seem
branches
think
all
we're
over the
I
world.
don't know
this
much
at this
about them,
point.
but libraries seem to be their thing. For one of them to be clueless about the information,
That makes perfect
We're
sense. There's
definitely
too
overthinking
many.
this.
Yeah, to be fair, Hannah didn't know, and like she's an acolyte, but
There are
Technically
probably
was.
thousands of
was
them
an acolyte.
I mean,
around the world. They're not going to know what's in every random library in the asshole of the world somewhere 1,000
I'm
miles
also
away.
trying to remember. I thought that the reason why they had this secret hidden thing or whatever is because nobody from the Kobold Soul wanted to set up an official thing here.
No, it's because
Okay.
Gordon
Or, like,
Council
Gordon
wouldn't let
The
them.
council did not let them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Kobold Soul wanted to, Guardian didn't want them to?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I had misinterpreted that. I thought that the Kobold Soul didn't like any of them. That was also why I was like, this seems like a backwards idea. Like,
know.
Mhm.
okay. I misinterpreted that then.
I mean,
If you want Elias to look like a Kobold Soul, it's fine.
it's up to Elias whether he wants to look like.
I mean, as long as it doesn't think I'm an enemy, it
I'm
should
just
be
going
fine.
to put the hat on his head.
There you go. He knows what Kobold Soul looks like. Do you have to be attuned to use the hat of disguise? Do we need an hour?
You do.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Like-
like, I feel like it, at least, I feel like Pernell and Leah, their impression that they have so far is that whoever this is probably, especially if they were brutally burned alive, would probably be willing to tell people, or tell us at least. I don't know. That was my impression, was like, we are not the enemies here, so.
Yeah.
And we're clearly
Go for
not
it.
the council.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if we're
okay.
suspecting it might
Just do
have
it.
been-
So questions before we actually do the thing.
Exactly.
I mean,
So do we want to ask what was in the library, or do we want to ask what was in the library beyond the history of Gwarden, or something else?
I think I mean,
Because we're assuming, I mean, if we just ask what's in the library, then they can just say the non-elfish history of Gwarden.
Well, I mean, could you give us a list of things? But that might be long. But
what was worth protecting in the library?
well, they would say everything in the library.
What
if
was
it's come
worth
up.
keeping hidden? I don't know.
Hear everything because of the council.
Well, okay.
Hannah, what was?
Who would have
there?
wanted to destroy the information that was kept there?
I mean, we'll just find that out by asking who killed him.
Yeah, or what?
But if they don't know who killed them,
We could ask what happened. Like
Well,
what?
then, if we don't get that, we can ask him the other version.
Can you does Hannah not know what was in the library?
No.
She, not exactly. She knew that it was there.
Her understanding that it was the non-elven history of Gwarden.
Yes,
but that
it
seemed
sounds like she
far
herself
too
was
simple
not-
for what happened.
was not on the best terms with
No.
the people who kept it, I guess.
She apparently was a former acolyte.
Ah.
And she made a mistake. Well.
All right.
I am
well,
not
then,
one to judge that.
No.
So okay. So who or what killed you?
If we wish to be more vague, perhaps explain what happened
prior to your death?
Yes.
I suppose we can ask what was in the library and then narrow it down. Was there anything of particular interest? Though librarians tend to think that lots of things are of particular interest.
Yes, that is the case.
I mean, all right, I'm trying to also remember from talking to Hannah, I'm like, why? So were they chronicling the history of Gordon? Is that like what they were doing there, essentially? Or
That
like
is-
writing
that-
down the oral histories and things?
That's a myth to be what Hannah stated, but including the nomads of the area.
Yes. I'm just trying to like figure out why this specific
But
thing
whether
was even
she
actually there to
knew
begin
the
with,
truth
so.
or not is we doth not know.
Could we ask if they knew of anyone outside of their group that knew of the library?
Perhaps. But first, perhaps we should ask what they know of what happened prior to their death, because if they know who killed them through that, we can narrow things based on that.
How
what
many
would
questions
what would
do we
their
get
enemy
again?
five?
5? So
You
we
have
asked-
10 minutes once you cast the spell.
Yes.
Right.
Well, we would have figured all this out before
Yeah,
starting.
this
to
is, I
cast
think,
the
all
spell,
discussion before spell.
I'm just saying, like, if you ask a question, you still have time to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, but like we want to know more or less what.
But
we're-
asking that question first could narrow things down for future questions. As if
Right,
they
I
do
mean-
know who killed them, we can ask what those people would have been searching for.
Right. I mean, I think so. So first question, can you tell us what happened leading up to your death or something in that vein?
It
And then-
honestly might have been nothing though. They might have just been sitting and reading, and next thing they know,
Boom.
people burst
I
down the door
mean,
and burn them.
what's the point of speculating? We ask or we don't.
I'm
Didn't
saying,
we-
is it worth wasting?
Didn't you bring it here to ask? I mean,
yes.
So let's ask.
I mean, keep talking
only
ourselves out of possible questions, or we can just ask the
We
question.
only have 10 minutes, so we want to have a list of potential questions so that we don't
I think we
waste
need to
time.
ask what killed them because
Yes.
maybe they don't
I
know,
think we
but
should
we need
start
to
with
know.
who or what killed them.
Right. I think starting with who or what killed them is a good idea. But then where do we go from there? It's not just the first
Who
question.
or what killed them? What
and then why?
information would have been in the library? Would someone have wanted? That way, we're not wasting time with. If there really
I
was.
mean, honestly, it
history
sounds
there.
like we whatever questions we ask basically will have to be based on whatever answers we get from the first couple questions.
Yeah,
That is what I
I
assumed,
think
so.
those two are a good starting point.
You
and we
can
go
hear
from there.
Elias finish the incantation as he casts the spell.
Yeah.
And you hear him ask, "Who killed you?" And he's looking very intently at the skull. And then he looks up and he says, "It was a wizard."
Okay.
Well, narrows
Was
it
it
down to
a
nobody.
gnome?
We should be
Do
more.
we need to?
Yeah,
Less than yes
was
or
it
no
a no?
questions.
No. Right.
Yes.
All right.
Well, there we
so
go.
Our friend
Well,
in
that
the
answers that question.
the hidden
Alright.
house apparently is the one who did it.
Do
All
you
right,
know
well,
what
now-
they were looking for, perhaps?
Question?
Or why
We're
did they kill
proposing
you?
it as a question, not.
I mean, we could ask, why did they kill you?
If you know what they were looking for, what was it?
Yeah.
Or simply, why did they kill you? But
It doesn't know why.
So
So we
Tversky is an
know-
asshole. Now I feel a lot better about stealing her shit.
So
anything.
I'm wondering if there was anything other than simply
History.
the histories
Right, that's
down there.
What
The-
was
the place-
destroyed?
Penel, you said the place seemed
Everything.
ransacked.
Yeah,
Like they were
things
looking for
taken or destroyed, either
Everything was
What?
emptied out.
emptied. Yes, everything
And
was
taken.
taken.
What
was tossed.
information was hidden there? What information were they keeping?
He asks the skull, and a moment passes. Secrets about the assembly's activities in Guarden.
Well, that explains it.
All right, so it was about the assembly. So they were keeping tabs, it seems.
Tuko might have to put the screws to our kobold friend a little bit.
I know it's not if she even knew what was happening
No,
here.
she's ex kobold.
We have
Yeah,
what?
she
one
was
more
an
question?
acolyte.
One
She would not
more.
have
We have
been
one
so
more
far
question.
up the chain.
What else would be useful?
I mean, all of this
what
is.
about? All right, well, so
What was
Pernell-
the assembly doing in Guarden, perhaps? I need to ask that. Just
Pernell.
proposing it.
Pernell,
That's a
you
good
said
one.
the things looked like they were taken, like they weren't
Yes.
all just burned.
Yes.
Did they have any
taken.
idea, perhaps, where it would have been taken? Maybe.
I
don't know if
assume
they
to
would
the
know that or
assembly.
not, but
Yes.
How many questions have we used?
4.
We have one left.
Yeah, one
we
more.
have one left. That's why we're debating
Which
so much
is
on the last one.
which
Do
is
we
why
want
we're
to try and
here
ask him about the name in the message?
That's a good idea.
That's an option. I mean, yeah, where his proposal was.
No,
Name
I
in
like
the
that because we
message?
don't have any kind of a lead on that.
What did you learn?
Yes.
There's a coded message here. Ask them if they know anything about something or someone potentially named
Safe.
Zafe.
Okay.
Was
Do
there
you
anything
know
else in that
anything
letter
about-
that they would
or
know
something named
Yeah.
Zafe? Pauses. Zafe Uladan is the recently instated Marquis of Nicodranas.
Oh, so they do know who that is.
Okay.
Uladon?
Uladan.
I
Leah's
do not
just
like how
"This means
much
nothing to me."
this is connecting back to the assembly.
And with that, I would assume it passes back out, doesn't it?
Yeah. And he's like, that's all
Yeah.
it's done.
Was that all that was about?
Like-
a name?
I mean,
Like
we can
Etheseus
ask it again in 10
Of
days.
leadership.
So the assembly is putting its own people in charge of other places outside of the empire.
Apparently, the new Marquis of Nicodranas is Zafe Uladon. Uladon also happens to be the name of a key assembly member, so I'm guessing they're related.
Sounds like
I
the
don't know much
assembly
at all
is going
about
for a
this
power
assembly.
grab. You don't want to.
Well, that fits.
With an empire, certainly.
Well, then
This is giving me a headache.
Yeah, it's as,
So,
as
about those letters,
entertaining
then.
as all this assembly conspiracy is.
The letters were correspondence, though, by our gnome friend, who is apparently the one who killed this poor fellow and took all of the research and whatever else was kept there.
Intelligence. This was a spy
Is there
versus spy
anything
situation.
indicative of? I forget. Did we know the gnome's name even? I don't remember.
Dulin
Tversky.
Tversky.
Yeah, we definitely
Okay.
knew the gnome's name.
Master Dulin Tversky, the Archmage of Diceology.
Which I would say.
Is that like magic dice? Sorry. I had to-
It is the research of foreign and alien things.
And was there anything then? So they were aware. So the people, the Cobalt Soul, was it? Were apparently aware of this assembly presence and keeping tabs on it or notes on it, but according to Hannah, they had told her that it was simply nomadic histories. So clearly, they
I
didn't
think
want that
the
being
best
known.
thing we can do with this is let Hannah know what really happened, and hope she is smart enough to take that back to her superiors at the Cobalt Soul.
I know it's not
She
if.
has no superiors at the Cobalt Soul. She is not welcome there.
She apparently.
Well, that sounds like her mess then.
Unfortunately, she is not
If
one
this is
deserving
something
of
important
the
enough, she'll
punishment
find
she
her
has
way back in.
received,
Yes. Well,
I
perhaps
do
this
feel as though we should enlighten her, though, as to what really happened. Especially if this assembly is as dangerous as it sounds, they may not know her situation, but they may see her as somebody potentially tied, and they may come after her as well.
They are always like
Cleaning up
this,
any
by
loose
the
ends.
way. Just all the time. This is sort of what they do.
Really?
I'm not even really fully sure what that all is yet, but I don't
Why do you
like
think they'd
anyone that
hire an
burns
assassin?
people just for cover their own trail.
Hire an assassin. They did their dirty work themselves.
In this case, I just mean when they care more about who it gets traced back to. All I'm saying is that they're not afraid to make a mess of things.
Aren't spies between this empire and the Menagerie Coast not, well, is this a normal occurrence?
I mean, presumably they're on friendly terms, but the Empire does like to expand its influence.
As empires do. But
Sounds like they're reaching for a foothold, though less of an Empire foothold and more of a Cobalt, or a Cerberus Assembly foothold.
Does the assembly often move separate from the Empire?
I mean,
They claim to serve the Empire, but
it's more like they work together when it's convenient. Otherwise, they follow their own interests.
oh, this is a separate group from the empire.
no, it's
it's a
within the
branch.
Empire's structure. But
Branch that likes to do its own thing.
You
it
can
sounds
think
like.
of the Empire as the monarchy and the assembly. They are the basically two separate governments that claim to be under one banner. It doesn't often play out that way in practice.
I see.
not on the surface, anyway.
All right, so we let Hannah know.
Yes, and I mean, I guess that's our first step, and then from there we'll see.
And I suppose. Go ahead, Aiden.
As interesting as all this is to look into, do we really care?
I don't know.
I don't think that we need to get too involved, but it wouldn't hurt to let her know and let her be the one to bear that.
I mean, perhaps we worry about it another day if it comes up again.
I suppose we have somehow,
very least-
somewhat tied ourselves to this Dylan Tversky
We
by
have
what we have
enough of our own.
taken and what we
And,
know.
well, I mean, if this assembly is as dangerous as you say they are, and they have their hands in everybody's pots, I would imagine this is not the last we'll be hearing of it. So the more bits and pieces along the way we know, I would imagine the better down the road.
Information is useful.
To do what with?
I'm just
But
saying.
To steer clear more than anything else.
I'm saying
I
it
agree.
is not a waste of our time to have learned this. We should let Hannah know. Beyond that, I don't know if we need to do anything
Information
right now.
is useful, even if it's only useful to help you stay out of the path of it. So
I'm more curious what this Archmage knew of the aberrance before it happened. If you said she seemed to be
Was involved?
Perhaps, or
I don't think so.
Studying
I think
such
it was
creatures.
a curiosity to them.
she looks for threats. I don't think she would willingly aid a threat.
I mean, I guess the question is, too, why would they hear? Why would the assembly be active in Gwarden?
Yeah.
Well, it's a part of the menagerie coast that even the Clovis Concord hasn't managed to exert any influence over. Free real estate.
It
Pretty
seemeth
much.
strange to send, well, one particular, well, one who seemeth more interested in aberrance than the politics of the region here.
Well, I mean, we're only guessing. We already have a
Right
goal in
before
mind,
it gets
so I don't.
invaded by aberrants.
We already know where we're going next. I mean, we can guess at this all day, but I don't think it's going to change our course. Maybe that's something we come back to later if there's a reason to, but again, I don't like the idea of getting too close to the assembly's path.
I agree, but forgive me, it just sits strangely with me, all these connections.
Think on it, just be careful what you do with it.
We happen to stumble into something. You don't want to pull on these strings too hard. Because you don't know where they'll lead.
Or what will come back on them.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure there's a drow proverb about
Pulling on the spider's webs.
Pulling on a spider web.
I would actually, thinking about that would probably just kind of mutter it in Undercommon quietly, just thinking about it, kind of absent-mindedly.
Well, we'll just, I guess, keep an eye out in case this comes up again. If it comes up again and
Yes.
again and again and again,
would
it
be-
may not be something we can avoid.
I would be lying
That
if
does
I.
seem to be a trend. We can't avoid things we want to sometimes.
I would be lying if I did not say I wisheth we had some of the magic that was used to take care of the aberrants as easily as this archmage seemed to.
It's... You know, I never took Tversky for the murdering type, but I guess I should have known better. Once you get a certain rank in the assembly, I think you have to be willing to do certain things to keep it.
Well, hopefully we can stay away. If not, we're aware at least.
We're not very good at staying away.
Well, maybe we should learn.
I mean, many times it's less about staying away and more about the trouble coming to us.
Weren't we headed for the mines? I don't think we're going to find Tversky in the mines, though now that I've said it, we probably will.
I would not rule anything out. Quite
I
Well
mean,
done.
It sort of depends on whether Tversky, Doolin, anyway, whether their focus was truly solely Guardian or something bigger related to the aberrations, in which case, and William made that face.
We shall at least tell Hannah. She
Yes.
requested to send a correspondence, perhaps, if we were headed
Yes.
well, towards the Empire, but apparently not. Though I'm a bit more weary now.
I mean, we could lend her some of that special paper we have.
That is true.
I suppose.
Could at least offer it, depending on what it is she wanted to say. That
Perhaps I'm being a bit paranoid myself, but when we go to meet her, Higan, would you accompany us?
I'd rather move as a group on this one. Just in case. I mean...
Very well.
So what? We walk over there, we have a talk with her, we come back, get some sleep. There's no point in not sticking together at this point.
That is fine. I simply... Either way, I would like Higan's eyes on this.
Yeah. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure she would be pretty thrilled to see all of us together. She seemed to be quite enamored by us.
A bit.
Oh, that's... I don't like that.
Leah just makes this like a face and is just like, it is not a bad thing to have made a good impression, you know.
I suppose. It was just a bit strange that
I've kind of spent most of my life trying not to make a reputation.
You've done a horrible job.
Well, for once you've at least made
You
a
don't
good
even
one.
know who you didn't even know who I was. What are you?
Velis, in Gwarden, you have certainly not done the best job of not making a reputation.
In Gwarden, I think we've all kind of fucked that one a little bit.
I never particularly tried to avoid having a reputation, so,
Well, I am kind of wrapped up with you a lot, so you get a reputation, I guess I get one along with it. Just saying. It's weird.
It's a good reputation, though, so it's not as bad as you think. So I guess we go find Hannah.
Okay. She's rather surprised to see you again. And are you leaving so soon? Or
It would seem.
on the morrow, at least.
Yes.
I haven't actually written anything yet. I can put a note together. And she's sort of like, so she's got like basically a small one-room spot that is like cordoned off. There's multiple people that kind of share the living space, and so she's like frantically like looking through what limited belongings she has for something to write with.
We might actually have something that might help you with that. But
So kind of peeking to
Look around
Higan.
this place.
Actually, yeah, I want to make sure Higan was seeing exactly what they were seeing with her after all that.
Nothing out of the nothing. She is not a shapeshifter, and she
Okay.
doesn't have any kind of illusion on her.
I'm gonna use detect
That was partly
magic
what she wanted to be sure.
Sure.
and just make sure there's nothing around the room that could be picking up our conversation. Also, ask Keegan to look for the same.
There's nothing out of the ordinary or magical in nature.
Okay.
I'm not sure if
Leah
it's
will
good
just
or
say,
bad, but everything looks very normal.
we were able to obtain some information, though, as to the what transpired.
Oh, right. The
Leah will look around though, because she is not the one to try and explain that, because she's like, "That's a lot of stuff." She's like,
Elias is still preparing for the legend lore, so he didn't come with you.
Okay.
Unless you really need him to, but
Simply put, they were silenced by the assembly.
and she's like gasping, sort of white-faced, like she looks really scared all of a sudden.
Oh.
Not just the assembly, an archmage of the assembly.
Look at Higan and or like Aiden and Velas
like-
after what Indil said.
She's a little unsteady on her feet now.
Are you okay?
She's just kind of like white as a sheet, kind of shocked, like, what would the assembly want with? I don't understand.
This is beyond. Remember what?
Apparently, though.
Looking at Leah, remember what he said. Recalling
What he's
Indil said the last time about not trying not to get too many people's eyes on this particular problem, and we just told her
On what problem? I don't know.
The assembly problem.
the Archmage specifically. He was saying like, yeah, what we learned at least back at the wizard's house, that having her pulled into this, it's probably not the best idea, or having like
A lot of
less
the conversation
ears on
with
this.
Indil I was like falling asleep for, so I was like, I don't remember most of that. But so
Well,
Leah
then
will
what
just
was the point of us going to tell her?
It was it was less. I thought we were like trying to at least.
Oh, I thought we were just straight up telling her what we found.
That was what we said we were
That's
going
what
to
I
do.
thought so
Are we?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
That was what we
I was
said we
expecting
were
people to
going do.
specifically
I had no
say
recollection
like
of, like, hey, don't tell
Tversky and
people
stuff
about
and
the
pull that
Cerberus
like
assembly.
yeah. I wasn't expecting people to go super specific.
I thought it
Hannah
was
might be
less-
targeted by them too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was. I mean, Indiel's was more about like, don't tell them about like the wizard in the house and the gnome wizard in the house,
Which is what we're telling them about.
Specifically, but
well, we're telling them that an archmage of the assembly was involved, but we're not telling them that there's a house that the archmage was living in.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Different things.
Okay.
She's sort of. But because at least from Leah's perspective, which may not be accurate because she doesn't know a lot, but to her logic, Hannah could be their next target if they know that she is still around and that she was somewhat connected to them. So if, they sound like the type to clean up loose ends. So she should know full well what is out there at least, but Leah will just say, it appears that whatever you had been told about the records they were keeping was not entirely truthful.
It was just an enclave. I mean, I thought they were just librarians.
They were librarians poking into things that they really shouldn't have been poking into.
Unless that's what they were sent to do. I
Probably
do understand, but
I didn't think any of them was an expositor. They
An expositor?
An expositor. They're agents that they're, I guess, spies or more counter spy. They're good at getting the truth when people aren't willing to share it.
That does sound exactly like what was going on there.
I mean,
a spy
yes,
versus a spy.
And I guess the assembly found out and cleaned up, I guess.
She's like carefully taking off the scarf and folding it up and kind of just holding it.
You might want to get back to your closest library and bring them what we've told you.
I can't. Nobody's leaving the city right now, and I can't travel all the way to Port Damali alone.
Oh, we have something for
Damali
that
is
then.
not. Well, Damali is okay. Don't go to Nicodranus.
Okay, that's even further.
Yeah, just maybe don't head that way.
We were going to give her one of the parchment.
Yes, we do have. You had mentioned wanting to send correspondence. It seems like we won't be headed in the direction, in that direction immediately, but we do have, I guess, magical paper, for lack of a better word, that that you can use to send the correspondence there, if that will work for whatever you have in mind.
Did you pick these up in Teliana? I don't remember.
Them a while ago.
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
I think it was before Teliana.
Yeah, it might have been before Teliana.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it was like Ingwarden when it was still a fancy town.
I'm taking one of them out of our party inventory.
Or was it the when
Might
we?
have been Fendon.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe.
They've been in there a long time.
It was a long time ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Either way, she's heard of these things, but has never used them. But I mean, it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
But she thanks you and is.
Tell them to watch Dulan Tversky.
Okay. I will.
Be very careful.
Yes.
I don't. I mean, aberrations are one thing, but the assembly is scary.
Well, and it seems that whatever killed these librarians apparently is also the thing that smashed the aberrations. So.
Oh, if it was an archmage, they're powerful. The magic that they have at the Enclave wouldn't have had a chance.
Well, the good news is that she probably doesn't know about you.
Oh, that is good news. There's like visible relief on her face.
I would say though, try to keep a low profile, I guess. Don't let. I don't think it'd be wise to let anyone know of your association with the Kobold Soul.
Maybe keep asking Indil about the library so that no one knows that anyone went to look.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, asking about it's kind of drawing attention to myself.
Well, if anything,
It's gonna draw more attention if
Indil
you
is
suddenly
safe,
stop.
Oh.
Okay, that sounds
I
reasonable, logical.
Yes, I would say be careful, and I know you're smart, but don't let on that you know about the assembly.
Oh, I mean,
I honestly don't know much about them myself, but you seem to
better,
know more
better
than I do.
than the better for you. You don't want to cross their path or get in their way. You've seen what happens.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what they did, but I wouldn't
Are
want
you
to make
safe
any of
here?
them upset. I mean, safe is kind of relative. This is probably the safest place for anyone here at the moment. I mean, you've all kind of driven off most of the things.
Yes. Are you
And
safe with the people, though? I mean, you have people you
yeah.
can trust.
Well, I mean, I trust all of you. Indil doesn't seem so bad. If maybe just a little
Indil is, from what
busy.
I've seen, a good man.
Everyone here has been through something, and that kind of creates a community. I mean, as long as I don't go poking around. I mean, I thought it was just, like, I didn't know there was all of that going on. But I mean, I just won't poke my nose around, and it'll be fine. Just not draw attention to myself.
Stay safe, and perhaps if we travel through again on our way back, perhaps we can take you to visit home. I'm sure that you have loads of stories that you could record there.
I mean, I'm.
If you want to. You
I'm
said yourself.
I'm from Damali. I mean, I'm from Port Damali. I don't know if, like, I mean, if you want to escort me there, that's fine. But like,
Oh, I'm saying on our way back.
right?
My
Well,
mother's waiting for us there, so we'll be headed that way eventually.
She means home for her is Port Damali. Home for you is home.
Oh yes.
Right.
Lemur
I
is
suppose
referring
you're
to
using
her
a word
home.
That means something
Would
else.
you like to visit the
somewhere.
Lushcut Forest someday? There's a very lovely village in the middle of it that is quite safe. Surrounded by all the scary.
She's not wrong. It's got a nice hot spring.
That's my home.
okay, sure. Do they like stories there?
They love stories there.
Okay.
They have
I
quite a
don't-
few that they could tell to you as well.
I mean, maybe yeah. Yes, I think.
And to put it this way, until venturing out this way, I'd never even heard of this assembly, so it's quite far removed.
Then I definitely would like to visit this home.
That's where she's like, Leah
Yes.
in her mind is like, that
Yes.
is the safest place I can think to put her.
Right?
Yes.
Is literally in the middle of home, like, and it seems like the kind of place she would really like. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yes,
Right.
she's like, we're not headed there now, unfortunately, but she's
Take
like,
me
"Stay safe."
home, verbal
Yes.
mom.
So yes, note to self is like, whenever we are headed back after all of this, swing by Gordon and pick up Hannah.
Oh yeah, an opportunity to go somewhere like off the map, get away
Yeah.
from the assembly, and
Well,
talk
and
to a bunch of people
especially,
that no
like,
one else is talking to
when
before.
she
Yeah,
said, she's like, you all like went into the Lushgut Forest and came back out, and Leah's like, wait, nobody does that. Like, oh boy, we gotta
Yeah.
show you what's hiding in there.
right. Yeah, she's very very enthusiastic about the idea and is more than happy to just stay out of everyone's way until she can get out of town.
It's fair enough.
And we will see you as soon as we return. However long that may be, but
Well, you know where to find me.
indeed we do. So yeah, I think, assuming by now it's probably later at night, so
In the evening and stuff.
Yeah.
it's sleepy time.
Yeah. On the way out,
Yeah.
might hang back for a
Although, was
second for
Elias
Hannah.
preparing a legend lore, you said, or something?
Yeah.
Very likely what we'll do is we'll pick up I mean, unless there's something else that anyone wants to do tonight.
Just wanted a
It's
quick
midnight.
question or two for
Right.
Hannah, and that's it.
Yeah. But we'll flash back to him finally finishing the cast. And then whatever spells get ready for the morning for the teleport. You want to just hang back and talk to Hannah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Hannah, you seemed to know as to the lands of the Lushgut Forest somewhat. What do you know of them?
You know, it's most of what I know is just the stories the elves have told of the Exodus, and all of that. Really,
We got stories for you.
So nothing of the
there's
lay of the land, or
I mean, it really is frontier, and it's really kind of off the edge of the map, in terms of civilization. I mean, Gordon's kind of the last thing before you just get to the wilds of the forest. I don't know much personally about it. Most of what I know are the history of the people who were here, of some of the tribes, the nomad tribes, and there's not many left, but there were dwarves here a long time ago before the elves came. But there's not much information about what happened to them.
I see. Forgive me, I was just curious if you knew anything about, well, where the elves had come from, and perhaps the lands to the west of their former home, and what might be there now, besides if it is just forest or not.
No. I mean, the largest archives, the most complete archives, at least on Wildemount, are probably going to be in Rexentrum. Damali's pretty big, but Rexentrum is sort of where the Cobalt Souls kind of originated. They'd probably have the most complete collections.
They would have things of the lands between that area and Taldore?
There are no lands. I mean, it's the straits. It's just water between Wildemount and Taldore.
No, there was.
I mean, yeah, like before, like a long time ago, but that's all underwater now.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I mean, I think some used to think that there was like a land bridge that connected Taldore and Wildemount. But during this, that's like age. This is all Age of Arcanum, pre-Divergence.
Yes, of course. I see. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can try Rexentrum. Port Damali's closer, and I mean, I'll just say they're also a little bit nicer.
Noted. Thank you, Miss Anna.
If you do go to the archive in Port Damali, and you speak with the archivist there, for Lane, maybe put in a good word for me.
For Lane?
For Lane, just for Lane. Yeah, the archivist there. She was the one that kicked me out.
It takes her a few seconds and like just thinking, and of course, I shall try.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Gonna very, very focused on something else. Head to the door and follow people out.
Gonna need to bring back Felice for that.
What is that, Felice? What? I kind of zoned out because I wasn't there for the conversation, so I will I've been kind of wanting to like bring her in temporarily for a little. I can do 2 characters at once. The small one and the small one.
Yeah.
I do miss her for her fun occasional shenanigans sometimes.
It wouldn't. You'd be not quite the tallest and smallest, but
Right.
Well, I'd be the tallest.
Yeah, but not tallest and smallest.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
Felice
she's-
is slightly
she's
larger than Wiria.
Slightly taller than Wiria, yes. The tallest and almost smallest.
So legend lore
Okay.
next time, huh?
Legend lore next time. So you can, if you have, I don't think any of you cast any spells. I think Elias is the only one who cast any spells.
I cast
No.
a spell.
You cast a spell to detect magic.
Yes.
So you can, so it is super late.
Not as late as it sometimes is, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes
It's actually pretty
it is.
okay.
It's still late though. Yeah.
So checking in with everyone, how are you all doing and faring in terms of, like, do we, does anyone need to call it a night?
I mean, I feel like it's a good breaking point, especially because we don't have Elias and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm
I
good,
also am
but
always
if
good
we
to call
want
it
to
a
stop,
night,
that's
but-
fine.
Okay. Because
I'm
I will
in the
just play my
same.
Switch.
I'm in the same boat as Kristen. I'm fine, but also
Same.
I
okay
will
with
be up
stopping.
very late, but I'm also fine with stopping. I do just want to make a note that I want to take a sheet of the messenger parchment and just put it away for later.
keep it one for yourself.
Yes.
Because we're gonna have a 2-week break.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks?
I was gonna ask what that little rain cloud was.
That was a very sad crying
Aw.
face.
Oh.
I've got basically I sort of enthusiastically suggested to a bunch of people in my professional work association that we should do tabletop role playing as networking. And I threw out a web form to say, hey, if you're interested, sign up. And I had something like 18 people fill out the form.
Wow.
Wow.
I found out that a shit ton of my coworkers play D&D now, and there are
Mhm.
some people talking about starting a work game. But I'm like, I know I'm with you guys at work, but I don't really want to hang out outside of work
Yeah.
to do right now. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
would absolutely like to play with most of those people, just don't really want to do that in an in-person game right now.
Yeah, but I've got like 2 separate games on Thursday and Saturday that I need to like make all the adventure. Like I need to make the adventures and stuff because
Yeah.
one of them is actually going to be like tailored towards like new brand spanking new players.
Oh, remember when we were that young?
Yeah, when you're all little babbies.
All babies.
This was my first D&D game ever.
So I can.
It doesn't normally last this long, just so you know. This is not.
I love you.
We are liars.
My very first game ever did not last more than a couple months, but then like the second game I joined shortly after that is still going, and it's been what, 5 years now?
Almost 5 years.
Almost
Five
exactly,
years.
actually.
That is a long
It was
time.
around like December, wasn't it, when we started?
Yep.
Damn.
So yeah,
So-
it's been like exactly 5 years now.
If people are free next week, I should be able to run a game.
I'm good.
Okay.
I have.
I mean, I
have
think John and I we're
Thursday
not going
and
anywhere.
Friday
We're not going anywhere.
off.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So what
And
happens in
nowhere to
Wildemount game next
go.
week, chat? We'll still be on for next week.
It's
I also
gonna be
promised
me
my
and the
boys
dog.
that I'd run
That's
a
all
game
that's
over
gonna happen.
Thanksgiving break.
Mhm.
So that next weekend's looking like the most likely option.
Yeah, so I can run a game next week. I probably can run a game the week after that, but let's revisit that closer to then because there is a possibility that work will go crazy that week, and if work goes crazy, I'd prefer not to have to prep.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Okay. I
Um,
put a sheet of message parchment in my inventory.
Mostly
I'm gonna
because
take
this
it off
game
the
is
party.
this game is so sporadic. Our alt game is so sporadic. I don't want to prep too far ahead because I just have to re-prep every time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if work is crazy, I won't have time to do the full prep.
And also, who knows what that party is going to do at any given
There
time.
is that too. I mean, in fairness, my general assumption when running that game is I'm probably going to improv at least 50% of it.
Of course. Of course. An absolute chaos team. I love that.
You know, so
don't
50%
even remember
improv
exactly
is
what
my
happened the last time.
assumption. My main goal for that game is to just make sure I at least prep combats so I have like stats and shit handy.
Yeah.
Whereas like what happens? I might make that up as I go along.
Oh wait, kobolds happened last time.
Like,
Kobolds.
Oh yeah, that.
We have an evil scientist lab to break into.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, you
what
found
I'm
that. Okay.
What?
Cool.
Did we?
It's like I vaguely remember
Yeah, we
there
found
was
that.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you yeeted kobolds and then you found the
Oh yeah, you weren't
entrance
there for that. We were throwing
a-
so we tied the kobold to a tree. The kobold that guided us, we tied him to a tree. And then we killed all the kobolds up top and started throwing them off the waterfall. So this kobold that was tied to the tree is tied to the tree, watching his friends fly off the waterfall and explode in the water.
Damn.
Yeah, we thought about that after the fact. When
Yeah.
we were eating them, we're like, guys, we left
To
him
be
down
fair,
there.
we did not tie him to the tree in order to subject
Yeah,
him.
no. We also let him go afterwards, so we're not
It was
total
only
assholes.
unintentional psychological torture.
They
Unintentional.
also forgot they'd gagged him, so they were asking him questions, and he was just like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're the good guys.
What was it that Gil did? Gil like threatened to kill him if he didn't cooperate or something when he was already terrified.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know.
that poor kobold is so traumatized.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
That poor kobold is so traumatized.
So much. Okay. Well, yeah. It is late. I have no idea who the fuck to raid, so I'm just gonna let you all chat. Go find your people, and we will see you next week. Be free and have a great night. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a